Richard Nixon, Studebaker Television, Marilyn Monroe. We didn't stop. Marilyn Monroe. I am first. Welcome, Chris in chat. Hello, Lemon Mint Cat. Very good to see you. Afternoon, Chris. I today am going to say... I'm going to say that I'm live on YouTube. So I need to get the link. So you're going to watch me do that. I'm not usually this early now. I'm uncomfortable. Yeah, I mean, good, unlucky for you. You're going to have to sit here and watch me play on my phone. Look, I'm wearing contact lenses as well. I didn't have such a good luck today. It was very hard. I had to put them in for longer. I'm watching adverts on my own stream so I get paid. I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm just going to watch my own stream. Oh, no, I'm fucking around. Hello everyone, I am live over on YouTube. I'm covering Candace versus Piers Morgan on his show, finding out about what her thoughts are on Charlie Kirk. Then I'm going to be covering the UK's authoritarian crackdown on Palestine-related activism. And finally, I'll look at some of the Trump-Venezuela stuff from yesterday. If you want to join and you're on Instagram, the link is up here as always. And on TikTok, the link is in my link tree in my bio. We didn't start the fire, it was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire, though we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. Someone once described that as the most white person song of all time, and it is kind of the most amazing part is how many fires that they actually did start. Hi from America, KKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKKk I've also just seen a spider up there. I don't like that. I don't want to get my camera and show you because I've got a fucking pile of books on the floor. But yeah, there's a spooky spider up there. Very strange looking spider. Its legs are like kind of like this. Live over on YouTube. Get here. I haven't done this in ages, where I say that I'm actually live. Last thing I heard from H3 was then Alex Novell video. Yeah, I mean, I saw him saying that something with that Tom guy who's crazy. I'm surprised they didn't button that. CIA spider. Hamas spider. I really want this to upload, but obviously because I'm streaming, my PC is probably going crazy. I watched a documentary last night about the ochre crisis in Canada. I can't remember what it was called. Can you say Maoist? Yeah, of course I can say Maoist. I'm feeling Mao-ish today, if you know what I'm saying. Sorry, you've just seen me search Wordle. That's an odd one. How do I post on stories? What do I do? What do I do here? God, I'm getting bad at TikTok. Hello, everyone. Yeah. I probably said I'm live on Twitch or some bullshit, but I don't know. Hello, everyone. Wow, playing Wordle like Charlie Kirk's killer. Yeah, hell yeah. What should I start with? Do you love Stalin? Yeah, I love Stalin. I love Stalingrad in Call of Duty World at War. That is epic. I like the mission where you have to snipe the German guy. It's awesome. And there's a crow. I remember that. Every day I watch Judge Judy. I get why Mao hated landlords. Mao would have Rip Mao, you would have loved Judge Judy. Did you know Mao never brushed his teeth? That's a great fact. Yeah, I mean, the Egg Lady is a very interesting character. Start with tanky. I don't think... Oh, wow, that is actually a word. Oh, okay, nice guess. It ends with a Y. I think it's a double letter here. I think it's something like silly. No, I didn't even get one there. Dusty. Doesn't work. The Egg Lady is a girl with a microphone. She looks a bit like an egg. Someone sent me a quality thing on Discord. One of you put it in the general chat. Wait, I'll pull it up. It's so funny. We'll do it before we carry on with this because is that worth looking at? Wait, I can... Here we go. Oh, I'm so stupid. Hold on. Sorry, I've grayed my screen out. I'm having a bit of trouble. Do you think people are troubled when I wear contact lenses? They think I've gone daft in the head. We got Chris Kunzler wearing contacts before GTA 6. Yeah, you did indeed. Bet you never thought that you'd see this happen. Girl with a microphone. I mean, this is just a crazy image. Like, crazy camera angle. Don't know why you'd choose that. But she's researching the Nakba with a stream titled "Was Ethan Klein Right About the Nakba?" Live research session. Tokyo Hands, shout out for becoming a member. Can you say the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plane? Of course I can, yeah. Thank you for becoming a 1 month member. You got the blue la boo boo somehow. I thought that was meant to be for longer than 1 month. I prefer you with glasses. I prefer wearing glasses, but I have a contact lens appointment tomorrow and they told me I've got to wear them 4 times. So, yeah, I'm doing that. But yeah, I mean... I think this is my favorite content creator of all time. I'll be watching her Nakba research session to learn more about the Nakba. Girl. What she even posted recently? Oh my god. It's just a stream called H3 Snark Mods Tampered with Evidence. It's actually crazy how many people... It's actually crazy how many people just, like, use this as, like, a waiting room. Jesus Christ. H3 Snark Mods. Hassan Piker's dangerous reaction to... She's achieving the dream of any young content creator. I mean, I don't know how fucking old she is. But yeah, she's achieving the dream of any young content creator of being a Hassan Piker hate streamer who knows nothing about anything beyond researching to make Hassan look bad about X thing. Like, it's a really odd world to exist in. I genuinely think. And yeah, Lamby's just posted a donation link. If you can, you can donate to a seal or any of the things that are in there. There's other great ones like the Samir Project. I mean, I don't know. Like, am I going to start streaming my No Politic Here research streams? Like, I guess it would give away what we're talking about that week. But, like, I doubt Isaac would care. The guy's stupid, so he probably wouldn't even know what's going on. But no, like, maybe I'll start doing that. But I don't know. I feel like just doing a research education stream about the Nakba is crazy. There's an amazing comment here, which I don't know if you can see. They tried separating the two with the green line, and that is currently not working. I know after a war in 60s, they took more land, but after/before, how are they able to do that? More people, I would assume. They would be minority in 40s to at least the 70s. I wish we could all be Paraguay. I wonder who we know with Turkish heritage. Yo, that's why Hassan is a Russia fanboy. They're twinsies. I mean, amazing, amazing content. Let's get back to the Wordle, because this is really what you all came for. Mr. Christopher, would you ever go on Time Team? Would I go on Time Team? What would there be on Time Team with me? What would there be to do on Time Team? What would there be? Okay, normally I pin the Discord. I didn't know if you want me to pin the Discord, but okay. Egg using Wikipedia for research. Wikipedia isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world for going and finding a source on, but for like trying to do a research stream about the Nakba is crazy. I mean, like even I also, I'm not really that big a believer in just reading facts all the time. I think theory and narrative matter so much more in terms of convincing people and also learning how to understand anything. Like, I don't really see the point in just being able to reel off facts. They're kind of like meaningless, you know. I prefer Hegel. You could debate Tommy Robinson on Time Team. But yeah, we're back to no glasses. Yeah, I've got to do it today. I think it could be something like dopey. I'm going to go for. Oh my god, I haven't got a single thing yet. Is it just something like furry? What? Jury spelled incorrectly. Happy? No, I've tried happy. No, don't give the answer, but okay, so is it something you... I think it is rugby, you know. Well done. Nice guess. Nice. Rugby. Rusty rugby. I couldn't think of anything that was there. Thank you. Butterfly effect. Pom-pom. Glitter pom-pom. Lead. Something to do with cheerleading. I don't know. Pipe cleaner. Oh, fuck. Sorry, I just hid one of you in the channel. McGee, I'm sorry. I just accidentally hid you for a second. McGee, I am sorry. McGee, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I've undone it. McGee, please come back. I'm sorry. I've lost a loyal Chris Kunzlerist. 40 babies killed in Gaza casualties. Really? Does it actually? I don't know if McGee's going to come back after that one. Sorry, McGee. I genuinely feel really bad about that, but... McGee, you're here. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Daydream, fantasy, illusion. I think it's one of these. Why is it lead, principal, star, and hero? Why is it those? Do not ever give kids glitter. Excuse me, I will not be giving any kids any glitter. Yeah, the contact lenses force me to misclick. That's the issue here. Blame the contacts. What do you think it's... Oh, I think it is fancy, daydream, illusion, and fantasy. Well done. Bit of wishful thinking. Great. And McGee, I'm glad to see you back. I'm sorry for my attack. But yeah, I'll take the advice on not giving kids glitter. Free McGee. Free my guy McGee. Why did you... Oh, principal, lead, star. It's not lead, is it? It's lead. Jesus Christ. Protagonist, security worker, butterfly. What? Why are these? Why is it these? Social butterfly, social media, social security, social worker. People be asking me for my social security. Yeah, not lead in a pencil. Yeah, that's why I read it incorrectly. Right, we'll now do this. Yeah, you need to click the last wall. You never know what could happen. Terror. I mean, file is definitely one. Is bubile a word? No. Is unbelief actually a word? Well, that was fun. I really love the New York Times. Wow. Thanks for guessing unbelief. That's all I'm allowed to guess for today. God, that made for some brilliant television. Okay, right. We'll start off with a bit of meme shit, which for some reason I can't pull up because I don't have my doc open. Where's my doc? Jamie, get the doc up. Show the chimp smoking a pipe. Jamie, show that. Oh, yeah. Wait. There was some... oh yeah, wait. Actually, we got some more girl with a microphone quality. So Noah Samson posted an absolutely fine tweet. Like, good guy. I'd recommend if you like this guy. He did a great podcast with two handsome chappies. Paper that defends Israel's actions, and you pay the money. No. I don't pay the New York Times any money. I'm not paying them any money. I play their games. That is it. I am never paying the New York Crimes money. You know what, though? I was reading an Edward Said essay, and he was talking about how, you know how everyone's worried about, like, Barry Weiss having access to 60 Minutes? Apparently when, is it Mohammed al-Dara was killed? Mohammed al-Dura. When he was killed, there was, like, a 60 Minutes episode about him, where it was like the Israelis accusing him of... Listen to this. Fuck me. Oh my God, I did not realize this was this bad. I read the thing and I thought Edward Said was just implying a bit. This is one of the things that I feel a little bit uncomfortable with. Like, I think it's important to talk about the capture of media, but... Listen to this. On October 23rd, 2000, Shahaf and Doriel invited CBS 60 Minutes to film the reenactment. Doriel told the correspondent, Bob Simon, that he believed the boy's death was real, but that it had been staged to damage Israel. Doriel said the actors in this staged incident included the Palestinian gunman, the cameraman Abu Rahma, and even the boy's own father, who apparently didn't understand that the act would end in the murder of his son. Genuinely amazing. So CBS basically let an Israeli Doriel, what is Doriel? Joseph Doriel, both of whom did Yitzhak Rabin assassination theories. Oh my god. Imagine if Yitzhak Rabin had died today. We could have watched Yitzhak Rabin assassination. Oh my god, I bet they exist on YouTube still. One day, I'll watch through Yitzhak Rabin assassination things. By the way, also, Tony Soprano Lover was researching, and she told me that the guy Yigal Amir, who's assassinated Yitzhak Rabin, is now like pro-Palestine because he's incredibly anti-Israel. Crazy stuff. I'd have to look over what she said again. I'm like that Ethan Klein Logan Paul video where iDubbbz video where with the glasses, it was a Logan Paul originally, where he could see no longer colorblind. But yeah, this is the beef. Israel has killed at minimum 30,000 times more children than the Bondi Beach shooters, but its victims will collectively receive less Western media coverage for two simple reasons. They are Palestinian, they are not Jewish. Girl with a microphone. So we're just fully being anti-Semitic on the main now, huh? You didn't mean Israeli or Zionist here, huh? Literally just went full on Jews get all the sympathy. The online left is led by a white man. Led by white men is a fucking cancer. Oh, shut up. Shut up, you egg. You were retweeting Emirati propaganda yesterday, and your standard of a research stream is just going on TikTok. And the only people who like this tweet, by the way, are either Zionists or pro-Israel people. Someone said she had a funny Hen Mazig interaction. Oh, no, it's on here. What is your contention here exactly? That Jews don't receive more sympathy than Palestinians in Western media coverage? If so, I'd love to hear you explain how you came to that amazing conclusion. Very, 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 very simple. Like, I mean, once again, she could not do it. She could not do it because she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about, because her only interaction with Palestine is literally just Ethan Klein good. Wait. There's an amazing set of there's an amazing set of tweets here. Didn't you defend Hen Mazig when he supported naming Miss Rachel as Anti-Semite of the Year? Absolutely not. I love Miss Rachel. This you? Hen Mazig seems to hold the same care about civilians view as they do. This is from a pinned post of his. I don't really see an issue with this POV. Especially since vilifying all Israelis hasn't fixed anything so far. I think we need a lot more of them to step up. I am pro-Palestinian. I support the Palestinian rights movement, their right to live in peace, security, and with dignity. I'm just not anti-Israel. I don't support the slaughter and violation of Israelis, holding innocents hostage, the destruction of the only Jewish homeland, and denying any Jewish refugee the sanctuary my family had when fleeing genocide. You can love Israel and hate the actions of its government, hate the actions of some Israelis, hate the views of other Israel supporters, love Palestinians. You can love Israel with critical thinking, brave honesty, and nuance. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. By the way, just thinking that this is like in any way a good or meaningful view or will change anything in Palestine is literally indicative of being so stupid. Like, genuinely being so stupid, because it's very obvious that years of kiddie gloves with Israel has achieved nothing, and that treating Israel as what it is, a genocidal, racist apartheid state that from its very inception has been premised on the extermination of Palestinians, is what is making Israel and its supporters sweat. Not going, we love everyone, we want peace, because Israel has shown time and time again that it is not willing to uphold basic international law, and that it wants its settlements in Palestinian land. Like, it will never get rid of those. But yeah, I mean, and also yesterday, by the way, she retweeted someone who was literally laundering the Sudanese genocide, the genocide of Masalit people, because she doesn't know anything about this. Someone asked me about him, so I went to his Instagram. I don't see an issue with the POV he shared there. That was his pinned post. I don't know much about him otherwise or follow him. If he really bought into that stupid Anti-Semite of the Year shit, he sucks. Why do you think you have a right to speak to Noah Sampson about this and, like, talk about anti-Semitism? Your sole engagement with Palestine is because Ethan Klein cares about it. You don't give a shit about Palestinians. Like, you literally don't. You just give a shit about what Ethan Klein thinks. Like, you genuinely just care about what Ethan Klein thinks and bigging him up. That cannot be a good world to live in. And yeah, I see Roman P there. But yeah, that was a good little meme thing to start. There was also... Wait, have any of you seen the videos of Kash Patel? I know we watched some of them. Someone described this, I'm sure they described this as one of the most deeply embarrassing public officials we've ever endured. Watch this video of Kash Patel. It's so odd.
Actually abusing it, I would go see every one of her shows. I think I get to like 15%.
Just to clarify, how often has he traveled to see you since January 20th?
Gosh.
Look at Kashi. It is utterly ridiculous. Using the term nuance in the context of a genocide. Yeah, thank you for the $2, Trevor Trails. But in the whole of Palestine, there is no way to look at this with like this amazing nuance of like, oh, I care about both Israelis and Palestinians, because Palestinians are right now the people. It is utterly ridiculous. Being exterminated and have been for a while. Free Sudan, indeed. Yeah, fuck the egg. And just like. Once again, like just thinking that, you know, you are like some kind of actual decent voice when your whole thing is just based around what some other bigger content creator who you latch onto and defend from attacks on the internet constantly. Like, you know, I have been on Hassan's stream. When you guys criticize Hassan, I don't make like hour-long streams about why Hassan is actually brilliant. I don't care. You're entitled to your opinions about content creators.
I think with Nashville, you've been in Nashville, like...
Yeah, I've been to her house a couple times with her family for the holidays and, you know, birthdays. I've seen her perform this year, I think, 3 times.
Yeah.
And
Bro, this guy is such an idiot. This guy is such an idiot. I like him, though. I think he's a good representation of America. We got another quality. We got another quality one.
Personal level, of course, I wish we didn't have to deal with the attacks. Like, she should be out there touring and crushing it on the country music stage, as she always has been. And she shouldn't have to deal with the collateral consequence of just being the FBI director's girlfriend. But
are there really that many collateral consequences for the FBI director's girlfriend? Isn't it just that you are really, really inept and weird? Like, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm not American, but I don't really have any idea who like FBI directors' partners are previously or historically, and I don't think many people would. It's literally just that Kash Patel is a very unusual character. And also, didn't Kash Patel build his career off just like being a conspiracy theorist? I like his kind of vibes.
But I think with the hypersensitive nature of the media, especially the social media space, people come at you because it takes me back to like when I first did an investigation of consequence, you know, Benghazi or Russiagate or what have you. You know, they always said it's going to be the loudest when you're over the target. And yeah, it's been the loudest for us in recent history because she's doing amazing things and the FBI is doing a great job for the American people. And
the FBI is so funny at this point.
And certain sectors of the online space aren't satisfied.
Wait, he was a part-time guest host on The War Room, Steve Bannon's War Room. Amazing. Amazing. Like sitting there and acting like you're upset about people saying conspiracy theories about you.
That we're thriving, we're surviving, and that we have the support of this administration. On a personal level,
he's so unusual. He's so unusual. I love him, though. Have any of you seen this recent video, though? Some of the videos of the FBI recently are amazing. Oh, what the fuck? Why is it not letting me pause? Thanks for the 500 yen. Everyone also mentions Kash Patel's strange tech, but no one ever mentions his weird neck. What's weird about his neck? Well, wait. Let me pull up that first video again. What's weird about his neck?
If I was actually abusing it, I would go see every one of her shows. I think I get to like 15%.
Just to clarify, how...
Shh, Katie, I don't want to hear it.
Gosh.
What's weird about his neck? He is very strange, but I the only person's neck who I'd be thinking about regularly is Chaz's. You know that. You know that shit. I be on that.
You can see them, that they're kicking the snow out of the way, methodically looking, step by step, looking to see if there's anything in the snow at all that can help point them in the right direction in this investigation. And if you look over across the street, Seth, for
why do you need 5 FBI agents to just kick the snow?
those of us just show, let me see it right over here. There's that team as well. They're doing the exact same thing.
Why are there so many? This feels like such a big waste of taxpayer money.
Across the street.
We're looking right now at the FBI, who is gathered there as part of the investigation.
These guys have not understood the basic premise of Scooby-Doo, where, you know, you should split up and look for clues.
And John, at times we've seen them with actual rakes combing through some of the snow-covered ground there, some of the shrubs, some of the trees. They're obviously looking in very specific areas. Again, this is live, watching the FBI combing through, obviously looking for any bit of evidence to further this investigation, live out of Providence, Rhode Island, John.
Yeah, anything that the gunman might have dropped or tossed on his way out of the building as he went walking down the street, because that's right in the area there where the surveillance.
Yeah, it does actually feel like, you know, they mentioned using a rake would be a better idea. I don't know why they're doing this.
Surveillance camera got a picture of him where our Brian Yennis has been dutifully reporting from.
Okay, so we're going to continue watching this. John, obviously, as that community and those students have been shaken to their core.
Fuck, actually, lagging games, I guess you're right. I guess when they split up, they get themselves into trouble. But in the end, they always catch, like, the spooky ghoul, don't they? They always get that spooky ghoul at the end of every episode. And if Kash Patel is looking to achieve similar results, I think he should watch the show.
Or the school.
Or maybe he has watched it and he's taken your lesson from it and is fearful that one of his guests will be caught by a spooky ghoul.
And the local police are urging vigilance, obviously, in the area.
We see the evidence response teams now for the FBI now looking over the fence of this building. And now they're going to go behind the 145 building on Waterman. This is the building that we initially saw them rush to. It's got businesses, a law group, a chiropractor, and now they're looking at it now.
Amazing. I think they're doing a brilliant job. It's kind of incredible how they have completely capitulated on catching absolutely anybody and just like totally failed. It's amazing. But sadly, Kash Patel has lost his loving partner, Dan Bongino. Dan Bongingo, as he's been known by some. I will be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank... It is utterly ridiculous. The FBI can't afford rakes. Funds move to ICE, which is kind of ironic as you see what they are kicking. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they can afford rakes. Well, they said that they said that they had rakes, but I'm not seeing any damn rakes. So they've been reduced to the primitive methods. Thanks as always, Tokyo House. So Dan Bongingo is leaving. He's thanking AG Bondi and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege to serve you. God bless America and those defend her. I like Surf's comment. Masterful gambit with the whole making a core part of your entire professional career about exposing the Epstein files, only to get in and cover them up. Let's get you on the battle bus, Deputy Director. I think he should be on the battle bus. I think that's a good place for him. I mean, they're just so fucking incompetent is the amazing thing to me. No, they haven't really explained. He just stepped down. I mean, he was complaining that he didn't see his wife a while ago, but that's kind of it. Right, we're going to get into some proper meat now. We're going to watch Candace with Piers Morgan.
Let's assume from
Piers has made an epic edit here, so...
Deal is on. Be with you at the end of another year.
Yes, and what a year it's been, not least for you. It's fair to say your fame continues to rise, infamy some would put it, but you're always a welcome guest on Uncensored. Let's get to this extraordinary meeting that you had with Erica Kirk.
Erica, I love her.
It came right after we saw her say in that CBS town hall, you should just stop with the conspiracy theories. So who approached who about you guys actually getting together?
Piers is, I think you should have a bit more respect. He protected a poor boy who was lost in New York.
I was approached by Turning Point after Blake Neff, who works on Charlie's show, sort of fumbled this invite. It was, I'd almost say it was a fake invite publicly. And then in the middle of the night said, oh, Candace is not able to be here tomorrow. And they never messaged me. And I think there was quite a bit of public backlash with how they went about it. It just was just not the way that we try to set meetings. And so what happened after was they reached out to me, said Erica would agree to do a live stream, just the two of us. And then after Erica's PR blitz, they reached out again and said...
To be fair, I am pissed about that. I would have loved to have seen a live stream with Candace and Erica. I love Erica, is all I'm saying.
That they felt that it was better for us to meet one-on-one. as opposed to us sitting down having Megyn Kelly.
Yeah, all British guys know each other. I've told you about the law that like a family friend knows him.
Moderate, which was the idea originally.
Right, and so where did you have your summit meeting?
At a hotel here in Nashville.
And a lot of your, as you know, a lot of your
Is Nashville in Florida?
supporters, fans of your show, think that you may have been lured into a trap. Did anything while you were there make you think you were being lured into a trap?
I don't know that a lot of my fans think that I was being lured into a trap. I think ahead of time they had some concerns, obviously, because I think in general, after you see a public assassination and you start tracking so many lies that are happening, there's going to be an understandable amount of angst that people feel. And I certainly felt the angst as well. I've obviously been very clear that I am suspicious of some of the characters that are at Turning Point USA. So I totally understand why the public was...
Oh, Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah. It's all Florida. Fuck it.
...concerned.
When you saw Erica, she was obviously angry about you in that CBS town hall. What was her demeanor like when you met her?
Piers has got a lot of respect for Candace because Candace is innovating investigative journalism, and Piers Morgan innovated it by engaging in alleged phone hacking.
Well, I don't think that she thought she was angry in that. I think maybe that was the characterization from the public. I certainly thought she was angry as well. And she sort of clarified that she was a bit annoyed by the questioning, the way in which Barry had set up the question with the podcaster, Candace Owens, which I think...
Wait, is that really true that she didn't drink water because she was afraid she would be drugged?
Was definitely being driven more by Barry Weiss's feelings towards me, long-running feelings towards me, than it was perhaps for the benefit of CBS and trying to pretend to be an impartial journalist. So I think she was frustrated by the line of questioning, is what she explained to me.
Yeah, no Scooby snacks for Kash Patel. Actually, no, Kash Patel won't be giving out the Scooby snacks. I think we need to work out whether he watched it. Piers Lipmaster, look at him mashing his lips on his teeth. He's a brilliant guy.
So how would you categorize the 4.5 hours? If you were looking at it in totality, what was the tone of the conversation? What do you think you both got out of it?
Well, for me, answers to the questions of trying to understand why there were so many Turning Point lies and why instead of people acknowledging that these are lies, I felt that there was this billion-dollar psychological operation to convince people that Candace is just crazy. These aren't lies. These are made up. And so I was very refreshed that they owned up to the lies. That was a great first step. And I think... You know, what motivates that? Maybe because despite having what I would assume to be the best PR agents and crisis PR agents in the world, we're moving toward a different world where people don't really care. You know, if you are friends with the people at, WME and CAA and what they can do for you, that sort of power.
What are they? The CAA and WME?
Power is ineffectual in this day and age. And so I think they recognize that, and that the public simply doesn't believe the story that they've been fed, and the psychological operation to convince us not to believe our own eyes or to trust our common sense instincts has failed. Okay, and I think on their end, they got more clarity on how I figured out certain things, more clarity on why I am convinced that there are people that are inside of Turning Point that are dirty. And I was able to share more with them off record, and I think that they got more clarity in exchange.
Before we get into some of the sort of specifics, is there not a danger here? I've already seen it in some of the reaction from people that follow your show. Is there not a danger that in seeking to be the one...
Oh my God, there's a Shen Yun advert in this.
that exposes the truth. And I don't know the truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk. I work on the assumption that this lone, twisted, weirdo Tyler Robinson killed him for whatever reason, and I suspect, personally, that is how this will play out. However, I have an open mind in the sense that we still don't really know what happened with President Kennedy's assassination. I found the attempted assassination of Donald Trump very odd in the way that that's been handled by the authorities and so on. I'm not naive. As a journalist of 40 years, I'm not naive enough to say every single thing you've been saying is obviously baloney, because I don't know. And we'll get to some of the more specific details. But is there not a danger, Candace, that by having a 4.5-hour private meeting, rather than doing it in public, that all you're really going to do, collectively actually, you and Erica Kirk, is fuel the conspiracy theories about what you may or may not have discussed in that meeting, what part of the stuff that you've been broadcasting on your show she agrees with and doesn't agree with?
Like, I think for me, I'll listen to what she has to say here, but I think for me, like, I don't think it feels implausible, like, that Tyler Robinson shot him. There's an interesting thing as well that TrueAnon said about this, that, like, you know, there are many inconsistencies, but none of you have shot Charlie Kirk. Like, none of you have taken a rifle to anywhere, and someone who's doing that is probably going to be an odd character anyway.
And so on. Is there not a danger this is the least transparent way of going about trying to get solutions here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is a point, like, as much as I disdain Piers Morgan, I definitely think there is a point to this of, like, why couldn't it be online?
Well, I'm a very transparent person, so my preference was to do it publicly, but
especially considering, someone told me Candace's husband is like a key figure in Turning Point UK?
I took the offer, obviously, to have any conversation, because if I hadn't done that, then I think everything I'm in doing would have appeared disingenuous. Like, oh, Candace is pretending that she wants answers to her questions, but when she got this offer, she suddenly said she didn't want to go because it wasn't public. They would have felt like I was moving the goalpost. So I was willing to take anything. And from their viewpoint, they felt like after the CBS News and the Fox News hits that Erica did, my understanding was that they felt that it was a good idea to bring the temperature down.
See, the only thing, this is like when rappers on the same label have a feud. At the end of the day, it benefits them both. I mean, in a sense, but how does it benefit Turning Point USA? Like, how does it benefit them? Like, what, more interest in Turning Point USA? George Farmer, that's it, yeah. Which surely Turning Point USA and UK must have, like, at least a decent amount of links.
First, by having us sit down and communicate, and that doesn't mean that they necessarily say, oh, well, that's it. Now we're not going to have any other public discussion. I'm hopeful they will. I think they should. I totally agree with you. More transparency, the better.
Who else was in the meeting? Erica was there. Who else was there?
Justin Strife, who is the COO of Turning Point USA, and my husband was only there for a portion of it, and my cousin.
So there were no lawyers, for example?
No lawyers. But they did phone their lawyer because I asked the question. I was like, look, I'm open to being wrong, obviously.
To be a fly on the wall in that meeting would be unbelievable. But surely her husband must have, like, a major vested interest in... Like, that's undeniable, right? Like, her husband is... George... Farmer... No, he's no longer the CEO, apparently. He's no longer the CEO of this. So, okay, right. George Farmer is apparently not the CEO of Turning Point UK anymore. He is no longer. He's the former CEO of it. Former chairman, former CEO of Parler.
If there is something, which I think the media was kind of hinting at, that they had more, but they couldn't share it with the public, I said, I'm happy to keep my mouth shut, and I want to feel good walking out of here that there is something there. There is some sort of a smoking gun, and I will tell viewers just to be patient. And so they did call one of the lawyers working on this case, and it was not convincing at all. He said, in effect, all we have is what the public has seen, and we won't know more because we're investigating and looking for more. And so that just made me go, why is everybody being so over the top and ridiculous and using words like the evidence is overwhelming? It was Tyler Robinson, when they don't have anything that's overwhelming to show that they don't have a video of him taking the shot, which I think was something that I assumed, like, okay, there's all these cameras. Maybe they actually have that video and they're waiting for a moment to release that to the public. They don't have that. Or at least I can say Erica's side has not seen that. And the lawyer communicated to me that they would not have access to that until earliest would be May. That right now they're just investigating, just like we're doing back at home.
Okay, you said that your motive for going to the meeting was that you would be able to come out and tell the world Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. So are you in a position to say that? Do you believe, as a consequence of your ridiculous 4.5 hours with Erica, do you believe that it is now most likely that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
I'm pretty sure Charlie Kirk is still alive. He faked it. Going to come back on Easter next year, claiming he is the second coming of Christ. Update your Kalshi predictions. Wow, I mean, that's a brilliant insight. I mean, according to Tim Pool, he was getting reports that they were stable. I don't know if Tim Pool's still standing by that, but thank you, W, for the 1,000 yen.
Absolutely not. I haven't seen one piece of compelling evidence that Tyler Robinson scaled the rooftops like Spider-Man on a college campus that he didn't go to, and fired one shot, a magic bullet shot, and killed Charlie Kirk.
Wait, why would it be a magic bullet? Isn't it because something to do with the caliber of the bullet? Again, not my area of expertise. Yeah, I was seeing someone claiming that a pager or like something exploded. You know, maybe Israel had him alongside Nasrallah as target number 1.
I have not seen one piece of compelling evidence. In fact, I've seen more compelling evidence to the contrary.
You've seen their vibrant ads illuminating billboards and train stations.
I would normally skip Piers' ad, but oh my god, I want to see what he's got to say about Shen Yun.
For many years. Now it's time you actually saw the show. Shen Yun is celebrating its 20th anniversary, a dazzling run which has seen iconic performances at iconic venues like the Kennedy Centre, the London Coliseum and the Sydney Opera House. Each season tours to more than 200 cities worldwide. You'll see classical Chinese dance, a live orchestra and stunning animated backdrops which bring to life 5,000 years of Chinese civilization. World-class performers in flawless costumes tell a story of myths, legends, warriors.
I tell you what is fucking crazy about China is how many people are from there. Like, how many people have lived in China there, like, throughout human history. It is truly unbelievable.
And heavenly realms, all set to stunning music. It's been described as inspiring, uplifting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested in the running defense for Graham Plattner. Like, it's amazing that a guy who said that he joined the military to kill, and like, you know, sometimes Bad Empanada doesn't, like, sometimes I'm not like loving every video and everything he says or does, but his stuff on Plattner was really good about how the guy had, like, he didn't just join up to the military for any other reason than he just wanted to fucking kill people.
And life affirming. And if you're looking for an unforgettable gift for your family, I really recommend that you check it out. Visit Shen Yun.
Piers Morgan is a big fan of Shen Yun.
.com/Piers to waive all ticketing fees when you order. That's shenyun.com/Piers. Who does Erica think killed her husband?
Well, I think that in her recent PR blitz, she sort of communicated that she trusted her team, and her lawyer was using kind of the same rhetoric that the media has been using, where, you know, there's really, this is like, you know, it's overwhelming. Maybe he didn't say the word overwhelming, but he was like, it's very clear, I think is what he said. In particular,
I would say the evidence that I feel there is of him doing it outweighs it in my mind. You know, of course, there's not necessarily everything that 100% confirms it, but there's ostensibly a confession, and also he was playing Wordle, and he was likely fired up due to it. What was Wordle on September the 10th? Oh my goodness. The answer to the Wordle for September 10th, 2025 was pouty. That's a kind of hard Wordle. He may have been going mental due to the Wordle.
And then I pushed back and I said, what's clear? The affidavit? That's all you guys have? And I did tell him, if you would never be my lawyer, because it's just, you know, a lawyer that's just kind of giving you adjectives, and I don't need a cheerleader. I need someone to be practical and to say, we don't have anything yet. I think the communication should be, we are hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to uncover more evidence that links Tyler Robinson to this crime. I do feel confident that he was involved in some capacity on that day. As I have said many times on my show, I was the one who broke the story that he was at the Dairy Queen throwing out clothes, a local Dairy Queen, throwing out clothes in a nearby cemetery.
I mean, it is truly unbelievable that she broke that story. Not in the sense of like, oh, you know, it's like the most amazing thing ever. It's amazing that the FBI hadn't published that if it was like available for Candace Owens to find.
And so I do think he was involved, and multiple people were involved that day. And I think he did pick up clothes. I had communication with Lance's family. I had communication with Tyler Robinson's family. And for some reason, Lance is being protected, which I find to be very strange. His own family thinks he's guilty of more, and they find it weird that the feds kind of glossed over him, almost as...
Oh, is Lance their love, Tyler Robinson's lover?
As though he was a Fed operative, like he was working on behalf of them. And, you know, we've caught the feds have lied a lot. It's just a fact. Turning Point USA people have lied a lot. That is a...
By the way, once again, in every context, like I read a great paper about conspiracies once. Every single time, one of the ways in which like conspiracy theories will operate is on the basis of not all of the reporting is instantaneously very accurate, that human beings are unreliable witnesses, and most people recognize this in most contexts, that when people tell stories, they normally alter details to fit with the way that they remember it rather than the way in which it happened. Especially around traumatic events, you know. Sorry, I've accidentally just closed my stream prep thing. No, I need that.
Fact, which they have agreed to. They said that these were mistakes, but they, you know, whether a mistake or not, the public was lied to. So this obviously, you know, matters deeply to me, and it's just absurd that people would think that I'm doing this for clicks. I know Charlie. I knew Charlie. Charlie and I are very close, and it has been one of the most disgusting things ever that people first and foremost tried to start this psychological operation that Charlie and I hadn't spoken since 2019. They've lied about virtually everything that I've said on my podcast. I'm not going to let this go. Okay. We don't live in a country that is the embodiment of democratic principles if Charlie Kirk gets publicly executed and the media apparatus is doing everything they can to cover the tracks. I would say to cover the tracks by demanding that there is no further inquiry into what happened.
Yeah, I mean, wait. I swear that wasn't the official surgeon's statement. I thought that came from someone who said that the surgeon had said that, and then said something as well about eating spinach, which is why Charlie stopped a bullet.
Happened on that day.
All right,
that is not a country that I can get behind.
Let's get to some of the details, because it seems to me you've put up a lot of theories, but a lot of them don't seem to have a clear conclusion from you about what you actually think happened.
I'm very interested in this part.
I mean, you've been all over this now ever since Charlie was killed. What do you believe happened to him? Who do you think killed him?
So I can't tell you definitively who pulled the trigger. I'm not going to lie to audiences and just put something out there that's not real. But what I can say is I feel convinced that the feds were involved. I can tell you that. I think the feds were involved in staging a cover-up. I think Kash Patel knows what happened and did not happen on that day.
I like this part. I believe that Kash Patel knows everything about everything. That guy is too creepy not to know about stuff. Sorry, my YouTube's having a bit of a fit, so I need to close some shit. Sorry.
Convinced by me being told by people that are feds that he is not acting right and that he is not wanting to share any information. Just a couple of people are allowed to even see anything. A Fed told me that they can't even touch the Charlie Kirk file without risk of being fired.
To be honest, I will be frank. I find the Epstein stuff more interesting, like a lot more interesting. You finally saw my wallpaper. It changes every day.
And that he's grown increasingly mad. The U.S. Marshals that were there when they were doing the quote-unquote manhunt for 33 hours said that Kash Patel effectively sent them on a wild goose chase, which is...
Yeah, I mean, I also think that may pertain to Kash Patel's incompetence.
What was signaled to the public when he said, we got him, and it was actually the wrong person. And so it caused people to stop looking because they were convinced that they had the shooter. They felt that was in order to allow the real perpetrators of the crimes to get away.
I mean, to be fair, they didn't even catch Luigi Mangione. Someone just recognized his eyebrows in McDonald's, right? And called the police the feds.
I
No, but that could
Obviously,
just be the fog of the immediacy of these things. We've seen it at Brown University, exactly the same thing. They thought they had the killer.
Yeah, I mean that's also just I wouldn't even call this fog. I would call this just straight up FBI incompetence.
They thought they had the killer. It turned out to be the wrong person. Right? It doesn't mean there's any great conspiracy by the feds to cover anything up. And again, even if what you're saying is true, I don't know. Maybe you're right. If what you're saying is true, what is it they're covering up? You've so far intimated or inferred something weird involving Egyptian planes. So, well, you know, what's that about? You've inferred perhaps Israeli involvement in some way. You've certainly inferred a lot of Turning Point USA involvement. That's a lot of people getting involved here in the murder of Charlie Kirk potentially. But what I'm really curious about is, given you've been all over all this and you've been airing all these theories, well, which one is it? It can't be all of these things. Is it some?
I don't care about the Epstein stuff because we've known Trump was a convicted paedophile before he ran. No matter what comes out, it won't be news in a week. Venezuela is my main worry. I think that there is a lot of stuff with Epstein that I'm very interested in. I think Drop Site's reporting on Epstein and the stuff that he was brokering privately was particularly interesting. His relationship with senior Israeli officials, senior government officials, and very powerful people does interest me. I think in the context of Trump, I think, unfortunately, he'll survive anything because his followers don't care what he gets up to. Like, you're right, people knew exactly what he was. But I guess in that context of, like, destroying Trump, anyone selling that vision, and I feel like, you know, I did it a couple of times, but I'm always like, actually, you know, I think we've got to be frank about this stuff. It's hard to see this taking down Trump.
Well, of course,
is it someone at Turning Point USA? I mean, who do you actually believe was behind this?
Of course, it can be all of those things. And what's really ironic here is that there's a clip of Charlie in the last months leading up to his death where he speaks about the JFK assassination. And he says that multiple countries were involved, multiple people were involved, the LBJ was involved, the feds were involved. And he's correct. That is what it means. When there is a conspiracy, there are multiple people that are involved.
But I want to, like, you want to know something from that conspiracy. And what's convincing about, say, a JFK conspiracy is that people proffer who it was. They proffer, well, it was quite possibly Jack Ruby had some, like, involvement with, like, mafiosos. Also a lot to do with Cuba-related stuff. Lee Harvey Oswald having some odd things, the odd things going on with embassies where someone checked in with Lee Harvey Oswald's name, where those calls are confirmed by people who worked at the embassies. And ultimately, there is a fundamental difference between, you know, John Franklin Kennedy being assassinated and Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk had the power of Turning Point USA, but, you know, the only thing I will say about right-wing media influences is they come and go. A lot of Charlie's recent prominence pertained specifically to social media accounts manipulating their, social media platforms manipulating their algorithms to boost Charlie's old debate videos. This is something that Charlie mentioned. He said, we will be best friends with TikTok so he could get, if the Trump admin got into power.
Of course, there's not one person on a grassy knoll who shot JFK.
Well, it might have been that.
There are people who had to agree to it. There who would have had to. The Dallas police were involved.
Candace.
Apparently, as well, Jack Ruby said, watch the fireworks. One of the most interesting things is, on the day, this is, by the way, 100% confirmed, on the day that JFK was assassinated, Jack Ruby told the FBI informant to watch the fireworks, on the day when they went to it. So, like, and then Jack Ruby inexplicably went into a prison and killed Lee Harvey Oswald. And he was in a huge amount of debt.
Question. I'm answering your question. But my point is, why aren't you just going to point to one person?
Fitzgerald Kennedy. Is it Fitzgerald? Yeah, quite possibly Fitzgerald.
That, to me, even that seems like a part of telling people not to believe their own gut. Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. Now, who knows what their motivations are? Doesn't mean maybe this person's like, hey, I'm going to help you.
Hang on. Okay, let me stop you. Hang on. When you say obviously somebody at Turning Point, you are accusing right now people that worked with Charlie Kirk at the company he built, which is now run by his widow. You are directly accusing people in that company of being complicit in his murder, right?
But Jack Ruby's involvement, by the way, more than looking like specifically an Israel thing, looks like it's related to, the mob. He ran nightclubs for the mob and was in a huge amount of debt. There's a great episode of Blowback that talks about it.
I want to just be very clear connecting that dot. So I said that when there is a conspiracy, of course there are going to be multiple people involved. So applying that same logic to JFK, right? Knowing, as I do, and as Charlie did believe that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds as having been involved, which then implicates the Dallas police station as being involved. I believe Israel was obviously involved, that they were the ones that wanted him dead for saying that what is now AIPAC should have to register under FARA. So there's motive. There are people that have to be involved on the ground that day. There are people that have to be willing to allow the perpetrators to get away. There has to be media that's complicit, and that's what literally Operation Mockingbird was. It was established to persuade the public.
Candace, here's the problem.
Well, hang on. It was established.
But here's the problem with everything you're saying.
But the thing as well is the amount of assassinations that Israel has carried out through its history is truly amazing. And you think at a certain point that stuff may have leaked because Israel's very proud about its assassinations, but I guess JFK would be different.
In this massive cover-up.
You keep saying, and this is where people think you're prone to endless conspiracy theories for whatever reason.
Okay.
Is you keep using.
I still think Alan Dulles was involved, given how shady he behaved, and that he easily could have the connections. Maybe. Alan Dulles would have opposed JFK because JFK was slightly warming on Cuba, right? And Alan Dulles was... Alan Dulles and the Dulles brothers are Calvinists, and why they believed that they had a right to fight against communism was that it was literally a God-given task. And so someone who's a religious zealot getting up to that kind of stuff...
the phrase, they have to have been involved. So by that yardstick, what you're saying is, with JFK's assassination, and we recently had a lot of the files released, which did not conclusively prove any of these things, right? Now, again, I don't know what happened to JFK, but the one possibility you've not ruled in is it was just as simple as...
I think JFK was killed for being too woke.
Lee Harvey Oswald. It might have been. We don't know. Right, so when you say the media has to have been involved, Lyndon Johnson has to have been. But my problem is you're stating all these things as facts.
We can't do 63. It's such a nonsense to say that it was Lee Harvey Oswald acting.
You don't know that.
That's just such a nonsense. I do know it was not Lee Harvey Oswald acting by himself, and then that required national security to lock down the files, and that required the feds to impart, the CIA to impart Operation Mockingbird to convince the public that it was. You can't go against. There's a grieving widow. Don't look further into it. Don't believe your own eyes.
But let me just say, this is your Candace.
It was a grand conspiracy that killed JFK.
Candace,
I am going to say that confidently. And I just think we have to grow up. We have to grow up. We can't keep pretending Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK.
Fine.
We can't keep doing that.
That is your opinion. Today's show is sponsored by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day.
Jesus Christ. By the way, as well, the Alex Jonesification of the Piers Morgan show to be sponsored by Oxford Natural and Falun Gong, Shen Yun, is amazing.
It's an opinion.
No, that's a fact.
No, it's not a fact.
It's a fact.
It's not a fact.
It's a fact.
The whole reason there are still conspiracy theories about JFK's assassination is none of this is a fact. You are floating it as your theory.
Because the feds are never going to admit to their own crimes. That is the reason we're still discussing it.
That may be the case, but you can't prove that.
Yeah, well, I can prove common sense that Lee Harvey Oswald did not stand on a grassy knoll and assassinate a president. And LBJ, like Charlie says in that clip, which people should go pursue.
Yes, I know Charlie said that.
All of the weird things that happened that
By the way, I don't think asking a question about JFK's assassination is enough to piss the Trump administration off. Does it materially change anything in the current day if it was the FBI or Lee Harvey Oswald? I mean, it's obviously a very interesting story as to who killed JFK, why it's not very clear what happened, what Jack Ruby's involvement was, why he told an FBI informant to watch the fireworks that day, and also why he just went and killed Lee Harvey Oswald. Genuinely, that stuff is crazy, but it's more just a point of interest, you know?
that were unusual, and LBJ
All right, but let's
decided
get
not
back
to
to
ride that
all right,
day.
let's get
And then
back to-
suddenly he reversed course on all of JFK's
let's
policies,
move on
and
from
he was
JFK.
fighting AIPAC. Israel killed JFK.
All right.
Now, going back to your point about Turning Point USA,
Yes.
and the ridiculous idea that implicating, this is a $100 million organization.
Yeah.
Common sense, if this was not even a high-profile political assassination, and this was just a guy who worked at a company that was $100 million, right? Common sense inquiry is, was there a financial motive for this person to be dead, okay? This is like Sherlock Holmes 101. And this is what I mean when I say that the public no longer trusts the media because you're acting us to be stupid. And we don't want to do that. We actually don't want to pretend that we're clinical idiots who can't assess things and go, oh, there could be a massive motive here to have Charlie dead, especially when it seems very strange that Bibi Netanyahu, when nobody even had a clue of what happened, this guy's doing the rounds on Fox News and saying, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, that was crazy. But I think that they there's also the fact that Netanyahu will exploit and do anything, will do absolutely anything to exploit whatever he can to for the state of Israel. He does not give a shit about anything beyond exploiting. By the way, I'm interested in the Rabin conspiracy theories now. Apparently, police reports state that gunpowder was found on Rabin's body and clothing, suggesting that he had been shot at point-blank range, as gunpowder travels only a very short distance before dispersing. According to the official version, a mere shot from a distance, of which no powder traces could have settled on Rabin's body and clothing. Wait, there's also... let me see if this is... There's a intentionally to increase anti-Semitism and to try to convince more Jews to move to the west to Israel. Maybe that's part of it, but also I think it's because he wanted to lay the groundwork for kind of the exploitation of it all. Maybe I'm going to become a Rabin conspiracy theorist. Maybe this is the new trajectory of my career. A Rabin truther. There's also a... Wait. Listen to this. Wait. This is actually a crazy little Rabin fact here. So this is from Israel's Minister of Chaos. Listen to this. So obviously there's the Ben Gvir story. If you don't know this, there's a video of it you can watch. When Ben Gvir was 18, 19 years old, there's a photo and an image of him holding the Cadillac emblem from Rabin's car. Anyway... 7 weeks later, attorneys from the State Commission of Inquiry visited Yigal Amir, who was the alleged assassin, or the assassin, in his cell and questioned him about that night. Amir said that on the bus to Tel Aviv, he had met a Likud activist who told me that Itamar Ben-Gvir wanted to kill Rabin at the demonstration. Ben-Gvir declined to be interviewed for the article, but an aide called this account false. Amir knew Ben-Gvir from right-wing activist circles, but he told the investigations he had laughed off the idea he might commit a killing. He was just a kid, Amir suggested, not a murderer, but a provocateur. I'm becoming a Rabin truther. But yeah, I mean, interesting. You can see that even in this assassination, which is mostly accepted, I guess none of us are, or most of us aren't Israelis, so we aren't really involved in all of this. There are a lot of inconsistencies about his story, but most people largely accept that Yigal Amir did it. And any, ability to get him off by any right-wing president in Israel would have been done instantaneously. Like Netanyahu, throughout his career, would have got Yigal Amir off if there was a plausible chance for it. But seemingly there are many inconsistencies and ones that I don't want to read.
That's kind of weird. Did you feel compelled to jump on to Piers Morgan's show and say, just so everybody knows, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk? Why would he say that? Why was he so involved as somebody who's fighting a 97,000 front war?
Candace, I want to get to the reality of what you're actually saying. So when you say that somebody at Turning Point USA, Charlie's company, was complicit...
Do you know also, I know some of you didn't enjoy it, but if you ever wanted to watch it, Can't Get You Out of My Head is such an interesting show, and I don't remember the full story, but it talks about the Discordians. Now, if you don't know who the Discordians are, they're like a group who thought that sowing chaos would be like a funny and an awesome thing to do. They started putting out conspiracy theories that the Illuminati, they created the Illuminati theory. It was called Operation Mindfuck. Is an important practice in the Discordian religion in which all national calamities, assassinations, and conspiracies are publicly attributed to the Bavarian Illuminati, an 18th century secret society, in an attempt to sow the culture of paranoia. The concept was described by Kerry Thornley and Robert Anton Wilson in 1968. Operation Mindfuck uses many of the recurring themes of Discordianism, including hidden knowledge, secret societies, chaos magic, ancient cults, mysterious rituals, and conspiracy theories. Now, if I'm correct, it should be mentioned on here. One of them worked for Playboy, and between an article about a guy cranking it and his, like, potentially his penis falling off or something, they inserted a conspiracy theory about the Illuminati, but I'd highly recommend that.
In his murder, who was?
I believe that there were multiple people at Turning Point who are, as I have said many times, my exact words are, they are engaged in a cover-up of what happened to Charlie on that day.
No, but who was involved in his murder?
I didn't say that they murdered Charlie.
Hassan Piker and the Snark community. Wasn't Ethan Klein meant to go on this as well? Imagine how good that would have been. Who sent the skulls? Hassan, Denims, Bad Empanada, Noah Samson, everyone on the Snark Reddit. It is utterly ridiculous. How is Kylie Minogue involved in this? He was, I don't know, Tyler Robinson was listening to Can't Get You Out of My Head, and he thought it said Can't Get You Out of My Neck. It was a mondegreen, which is when you mishear a lyric.
You said that people at Turning Point were complicit in his murder.
No, my exact sentence that I said was that there were people at Turning Point who are engaged in a cover-up.
No, you didn't.
I believe that thoroughly.
Candace, you didn't say that. You said literally.
I did say that on my entire show.
You said there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
You have researchers, Piers. Show the clip. If this is true, show the clip.
Okay.
That's what you said.
When you and I were discussing, that's why I said, let's go back. I was applying the logic of a conspiracy to JFK. I said, okay, if JFK, you have people that are complicit. Of course, if you apply that logic, if there is a conspiracy, there's going to be multiple people that are going to be complicit by the time, in order for a large stage murder to happen.
You specifically said, you didn't say complicit in a cover-up. You said complicit in the murder.
To be fair, before they caught him, like, I wonder, has she ever talked about the notices bulge, ooh, because that feels like a very specific thing to Tyler Robinson, where people found his Steam account and he was playing, like, furry games. Notices bulge, ooh, what's this? That was crazy. Do you remember when they came on and they were like, they say, notices bulge, ooh, hey, fascist, catch this?
Because I said, who at Turning Point was involved in his murder? And
let me clarify for you. Okay, you can keep saying what I said, or you can listen to what I am saying.
Okay.
When I was using the analogy of JFK and we were connecting it, I was basically pushing back on you because you were suggesting that, you know, all of these people being involved would be crazy. So I was applying the analogy of what happened to JFK. Well, you actually, if you go back and listen, were suggesting that a conspiracy...
I said you don't know either. You're floating theories.
When we started talking about the JFK thing...
Listen, let me make it clear.
Piers, I really think you're not holding on to your thoughts
Candace,
here correctly.
Christmas fundamentalist. Hell yeah. Thomas Dogwalker, thanks for that $5.
Let me spell out my...
Yeah, I'm enjoying your guys' theories. The Olsen twins killed Charlie Kirk. I mean, I cannot believe that he sent those. It's OO, not UU. Oh, okay. Sorry, my apologies. I'm lying to cover for the Charlie Kirk assassins.
Thought very clearly
when we started talking about JFK, the implication that you were making was that it was crazy to suggest that...
Yeah, I also, by the way, I don't really see the benefit of Turning Point USA getting Charlie Kirk killed. I think it was pretty obvious that the entire company relied on Kirk for its existence. Are any of the other Turning Point USA members right-wing celebs like he was? I mean, I'm sure that there are other Turning Point members, but, like, the dearth of talent amongst right-wingers, especially with Candy now doing on the other side, taking down Turning Point. I think that, like, the dearth of talent is a real shocking thing for him. Also, like the fucking stream guys...
Multiple people could have been involved at different levels.
Candace.
I was then connecting the dots and saying that in order for the JF...
It was also crazy when instantaneously someone came out and was like, yeah, I don't I hate showing...
It is utterly ridiculous.
I hate exposing myself as a gamer, but this seems like someone who was, like, radicalized by... Not radicalized, but played Helldivers and stuff, and whose politics was informed by that. So, I mean, there's stuff like that which is convincing to me of Tyler Robinson's involvement. And, like, of all of the things Israel does, I would always rather focus on things that I can be like, 100% they're doing this, because there's already enough horrible shit that they're doing. But simultaneously, like, Israel and its supporters spread so many wicked and evil conspiracies about Palestinians that have actual material consequences of the mass murdering of Palestinians that I ain't running to Israel's defense here. I have met the Olsen twins several times. Don't bring them into this. Have you actually? Mary, Kate, and Ashley? Is that who the Olsen twins are? I watched Eternity the other day, and Elizabeth Olsen gave a great performance. I have met, but thank you for the 500 yen. I'm going to be spending that on Nintendo video games.
Okay, assassination happened. There had to have been tons of people that were complicit,
I understand. I heard.
No, all gamers are like that. After I lose a game of Dota 2 that goes on for 90 minutes, I'm straight with the bullet carvings. That's a joke. That's an online joke. I don't possess a gun, and I don't lose 90-minute games of Dota.
Maybe you're the person who takes the cameras down. Maybe you're the person that told him to drive
Candace.
that day. Maybe you're LBJ. So they're not all complicit in the murder, but they're all at different varying stages involved in the cover-up, right? So.
The most bizarre part of the whole story to me is the way that he seemingly just decided on a whim to kill Charlie. Like, it wasn't some grandly panned out assassination based on his communications, if you believe they're real. I mean, on many topics, like, on many topics, especially now, there are a lot of people who are doing mass killings with, like, basically no... like coherent ideology apart from just killing as many people as they want. Nicholas Prosper is a crazy one like that. The guy, I mean, that's not like necessarily a new thing, but there are like, do you remember when there was that person who shot up the church not long ago and everyone was like, he's a crazy leftist anti-Semite, and the person definitely did have anti-Semitic scrawlings on their gun, but they also had like racist scrawlings about like black people, Hispanic people, like just all over it. And just like a crazed, depraved ideology. There was a really good TrueAnon episode about this. No Irish person has ever picked up a gun, indeed. But no, I haven't played the new Hero on Dota. I haven't had a chance. My girlfriend's here and she bans me from playing video games and hits me when I play them.
That's what a grand conspiracy actually is. Okay. And I do believe, so you don't have to go back and we don't have to go through it. I'm telling you what I think about Turning Point. You know, I am very known for being honest about what I believe. You're not I'm not exactly a person that you got to pull teeth on.
Sure.
I believe that there are people at Turning Point who are engaged in covering up what happened on that day.
But were any of them engaged in the planning of the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I wouldn't know how it was planned. Absolutely, I can't make that. I cannot confidently make that statement. I can say confidently that I know they're engaged in the cover-up because I've been investigating what happened on that day and what transpired thereafter. I've been clear. I've named those people on my show. I've said they are engaged in a cover-up, and I've listed the lies. So you don't have to try to make something out of what I didn't say. I tell you what I think. It's already controversial. We don't need to get more controversial, okay? Do I think someone at Turning Point pulled the trigger? No. Obviously, I don't think someone at Turning Point pulled the trigger. We don't even know who did pull the trigger. So how could I say that they're...
Didn't she proffer a theory early on? Candace Owens tunnel Charlie Kirk. Didn't she suggest a theory that there was a tunnel that someone popped out of and shot Charlie Kirk? Yeah, apparently she did, according to Britannica. In the wake of Kirk's assassination, Owen used her platform to posit conspiracy theories about the death, including that he had been shot from below the stage where he was speaking, and that the assassin had fled through a series of tunnels. Murdering Kirk's killing. He is believed to have fired the fatal shot from a building 125 yards away where Kirk was speaking. In December 2025, Erica called on... that's all I have to say, stop. Candace has 4 children. Wow.
Did anybody at Turning Point, in your opinion, know that Charlie Kirk was going to be murdered?
There is specifically 2 people at Turning Point USA, and I have communicated that information to Erica and Justin Strife, that I would not be surprised if they had foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk being assassinated.
Okay, like, come on. Like, why? That feels like a bit of a weak answer to me. If, like, your whole thing for the last few months has just been doing this. I don't know, bro. That doesn't feel that strong. It's like, oh, I can only say I've communicated that they have it. Surely you would say if you are 100% in your theories.
Have any evidence
I'm not going to name... I am not going to name those people, okay? Because it's not right for me to name those people until I know for a fact that they did.
Did you give the names Did you give the names to Erica?
Yes,
so
I absolutely did.
You gave the names to Erica of 2 employees, current employees at Turning Point, who you believe were involved in the preparation for the murder of Charlie Kirk. Is that what you're saying?
I told them that if I were in your shoes, these would be 2 employees that I would look further into. That's
and what evidence
said.
do you have that they had any prior knowledge of the murder?
Because I don't have concrete evidence is the reason why I'm not naming them. So I've been responsible.
You've got no evidence,
I'm not saying...
but you're telling the widow that these 2 people may have been involved in the murder. But you see the problem.
Well, what the evidence for it is people that there is not concrete evidence. It's like you're trying to get me to say something that I never said and then asking me to defend it.
No, I'm asking what evidence you've got.
Let's actually go to, you're asking me privately, did I communicate to them that I think you should look further? That's called an investigation, Piers, okay? So what you're doing is a strategy of like, if somebody dies, you're saying to the police, you can't ask any questions about anybody unless you have concrete evidence. We're at the stage of investigation.
I'm not saying
yes,
that.
You can. And let me give people in the public the permission to do this. Follow your instinct. If you feel something is off, keep asking questions.
No problem.
Until you get concrete evidence. And when you have concrete evidence, you should name those people.
Charlie could be on an island with Epstein somewhere. Yeah, I mean, how do we know he died? We only saw his hands when Erica Kirk filmed him. How do we know he died even?
I don't have the concrete evidence.
But you have named other people.
I find there inconsistencies.
Okay. But you have named other people.
I'm trying to answer. Piers, you can't ask me questions. You can't ask me questions. Let me finish it. I have communicated to them that their inconsistencies make me uncomfortable. I have communicated to them that somebody else who is a third party gave me some information that I am not yet comfortable as I am vetting it, giving it to the public, because that's the responsible thing to do. These are private citizens. And that if I were in their shoes and had more access to information, I would go down that route, okay? Unless I am...
But it's like, you proffered a theory that people popped out of tunnels and may have killed Charlie Kirk, like...
fully confident that they actually did have something to do, like here is the smoking gun, I'm not going to name those people.
By the way, also, the other thing is, someone mentioned Candace recently claimed to be on a hit list for French intelligence. These kind of things are happening right now in the world, but they just happen to people who, like... Do you remember the one about the death squad in Yemen? Where they'd killed, like... the UAE had funded, like, I remember when this came out, the UAE funded political assassinations in Yemen, the BBC found. They were funding this kind of stuff. They were actually hiring people to do this. They'll be doing it all over the world. It's just when it happens to certain people and, like, unequivocally happens, no one gives a shit.
But the people I have named thus far are people that I believe are engaged in a cover-up. Like I said, hold me accountable for what I have said.
Let's talk about one of those people. Let's talk about one of those people, because the Turning Point producer, Blake Neff, wrote this in early December. Ever since Charlie's murder, Candace Owens has leveled a flood of allegations against people at Turning Point USA, people at Turning Point Action, and people who work for this show. She has made them against some of Charlie's closest friends and against some of his most dedicated employees. She suggested that Michael McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff, knew Charlie would be murdered, was happy that he died, and stayed silent because he was told he would be the next Charlie. Now, let's move then to, you said in your podcast that new information was given to you in your meeting with Erica Kirk about Mikey McCoy that's now satisfied you. On a video on the 27th of October, you devoted a whole episode to this guy and his supposedly strange behavior.
I never said I have information that satisfied me about Mikey McCoy.
I'll ask you to clarify. Okay, well, you can clarify that in a moment. But let's hear what you said about Mikey McCoy.
Play the clip.
Before the meeting.
So we decided to slow this clip down, and we're going to watch this clip slow down so you can see that it is exactly 834 milliseconds from the time that you hear the shot. That is how long it takes for Mikey McCoy to put the phone to his ear. Now, why is that precise timing so important? Because there's no dialing. Mikey didn't have time to dial, okay? You can't dial and put your phone to an ear in 0.834 seconds.
Now, what was the new information that you got in your meeting with Erica about Mikey McCoy?
So I'm sorry your gotcha is not going too well, but I never then said, I am now satisfied that Mikey put the phone to his ear. What I presented to the public, it was
no,
what
I
Erica
didn't say
gave to
that.
me.
Sorry, just to clarify.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, well, you did say
No,
you have
inferred on
information
your
that's satisfied.
podcast. Well, let me give you the chance to clarify.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for the ads, Piers, for PDS debt.
Piers. You inferred on your podcast after the meeting with Erica that you'd received new information about Mikey McCoy, which had changed your mind. Would that be the best way to categorize it, or changed some of your mind?
No, I never said that. I just presented it. Well, the only thing that I clarified on my podcast, if that's what they're getting wrong, is that some people thought that he was using a nickname that was his middle name, and actually his real name is Michael, like first name Michael, because I was like trying to find something, and I was like, oh, maybe he's actually using his middle name. So that's what I clarified on my podcast.
And you were given
Beyond
call
that,
logs, is
I
that right?
presented.
You were shown call logs? You were shown call logs?
They gave me a printout of Mikey's call logs, and I gave it to the public. That's it. I mean, they're saying this, and then the public obviously comes
So
back
do you
and says, well,
believe
how do we know
Mikey
that these are...
McCoy had any prior knowledge of Charlie's murder?
I can't say that he had prior knowledge of the murder unless I have something concrete. I can't say.
Wait. I don't really get this. I thought she was like really set. Like, surely if you're sat there saying, oh, he had a phone to his ear so quickly that he had no time to dial, and yet he made the call. What?
Thing about prior knowledge. What I can say is what happened on that day. Mikey's behavior is weird on that day. I find it weird, like I said in the podcast yesterday, that what has been communicated to the public is like he called Erica instantly. First thing he did was call Erica instantly. And that's actually the call logs show that he didn't call Erica instantly.
But what are you suggesting about this guy?
He called his wife instantly, and then he had 3 ways.
As you know, when you've got a massive platform...
And then showing
Candace,
his call logs showed that Blake Neff actually didn't tell the truth about what happened on that day.
But here's the problem, Candace. You have a massive platform, as you know. Millions and millions of people hang on your every word. When you devote a large part of an entire episode to the strange behaviour of Charlie Kirk's chief of staff, you are putting a target on the guy's back.
Oh, come off it, fucking Piers, putting a target on his back. Shut up.
Inferring it has something to do with this, or something to do with some cover-up, or whatever it is you're inferring. You know what you're doing when you do that. When you saw Erica Kirk, did you say to her that you believed there's something suspicious about Michael McCoy? Was she able to explain to you why there isn't? Or does she share your view that he is somehow complicit in this in some way?
Well, we actually dedicated more time to speaking about his father, who I think it's strange to me that man calls himself a pastor. I communicated fully that everything about that man makes my skin crawl. I think he's a bad person. I think he's involved with bad people. And this is obviously, like, Mikey's a son. And, you know, I asked a bit about Rob McCoy and Mikey McCoy's relationship. I would just like to be clear. I have never, I am not going to be emotionally conditioned to believe that asking questions when we aren't getting any answers is the crime itself. The crime was when Charlie got shot in the neck.
I mean, I have no doubt that Rob McCoy is a slimy individual. He works for Turning Point USA. Thanks for the 5, Trevor. So now Piers understands the danger that comes with having a large audience. Yeah, I mean, finally.
So,
but you've already said, you've already said, though, you told Eric...
The easiest way to remove, the easiest way, let me finish. You can't ask me questions, not let me finish.
You're contradicting what you've just said to me.
You have to...
You said to me earlier,
what did I contradict?
You said you gave 2 names of people in the Turning Point organisation that you believe are complicit in some way. You gave those names, but you wouldn't name them because it wouldn't be right to do that. But you did name this guy, Mikey McCoy, who was the chief of staff.
Because his action...
The fact that the organisation has been given over to Erica Kirk is also kind of indicative of what Henry said about, like, if Charlie's gone, who the hell replaces him? Because she's sourceless and incredibly weird. I mean, she's beautiful, obviously, and lovely, and I really love her style, but she's very creepy.
Are strange. You're 2 different things. I really, Piers, I think you're having trouble holding on to 2 buckets of thought here, okay? You said... in regards to someone that was complicit in murder, that is a very serious allegation. I gave them names of people that would not surprise me if they did have foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk's murder. You are now shifting gears and you're asking me about Mikey McCoy and why I am raising red flags about his behavior on that day. Because I believe his behavior on that day was weird. I think it's painfully obvious that
do you
his behavior
believe
was weird.
he's
I
been
don't know people that
complicit?
don't duck when a shot comes
Was he
down.
complicit?
So I'm pointing. I'm sorry that I have eyes, and I am agreeing with the public that Mikey McCoy's behavior was weird on that day. Okay, these are two different things. Now, if I'm going to make the an assertion that somebody had something to do with planning this murder, I better be damn sure. And I need, if I said that on my podcast, right? That's all I'm saying. I had never made that claim that Mikey McCoy planned Charlie Kirk's assassination.
No, I think like a lot of the claims you're making, it's difficult to work out what you're actually claiming. You're throwing a lot of
This is what I mean. To be honest, part of the reason I wanted to watch this is because I've like spoken about this and I know vaguely some of the conspiracy theories. I thought there was something much like harder at the end point.
In the air, including people's names, which immediately then has millions of people chasing after these guys on social media and thinking...
I'm sorry they get caught lying. Like, I'm sorry, what is this? This is like, the public is actually being abused, okay? Let's stop pretending that the victim
Are they, or do you just
Rob
want them
McCoy.
to think they are?
No, the public is being abused because you're basically saying, stop noticing that people at Turning Point USA are lying.
No, I'm not.
McCoy was smoking on that Kirk pack. That's what I'm saying. That's my inference from all of this. Speak fast and blabber nonsense. That's how you garner millions of stupid brain deads as your supporters. In some ways, yes.
How dare Candace and the public know? Yes, you are.
No.
How dare Candace?
But when there's an
what
emphatic repudiation of what you're saying...
If Mikey lies and Rob McCoy lies and Blake Neff lies, and yes, all of these people have lied on record after the assassination, and the public goes, hey, that's kind of a weird lie. You're like, how dare you put a target on their back by noticing that they're lying? I mean, what weird psychological operation is this?
Do you believe...
Don't lie.
Okay, but do you believe Erica Kirk has been lying about it?
No, I have been explicit on my show when people were saying, why aren't you attacking Erica Kirk? I said, because Erica Kirk has not lied. If to the extent that she lies, I will call it out. And that is why...
Didn't she say that Tyler Robinson shot him?
I did call out when she lied, okay? When she said Charlie Kirk never received any text messages the night before saying that he was worried about that he was going to get murdered tomorrow. I instantly said, well, here we have it. That's a lie. He definitively did send out text messages to both Dan Flood and Andrew Kova. And when we met in person, she clarified that, okay, yes, that's real. And we didn't know until you said it because he was using a different app and she was checking his iMessages. So to me, if you lie, you're going to make an enemy of me. Just don't lie.
I wonder when Erica Kirk will say that publicly.
How about that basic requirement to say to people, don't lie about what happened on that day. Don't lie about what you did on that day, because that's the first clue to investigators that that person should be looked at further.
All
Again,
right. Well,
this is common sense.
Okay, let's move to something else Blake Neff said. He said Candace has made other stranger allegations involving French paratroopers in maroon shirts, Egyptian Air Force planes flying out of Provo, Utah, and potential underground assassins traveling through unseen tunnels. At one point in early November, she started wildly throwing suspicion on members of Utah Valley's soccer team for wearing hoodies. I could go on. There's always something new coming up. None of it ever pans out because from the start, there's been nothing there. What do you say to that?
He's lying, and that's the reason why Blake Neff is a suspicious character. I mean, him saying that I pointed to a soccer UVU person is complete fiction. I never had discussed that person on my show. Somebody was asking for a clearer photo of the person on X, and I shared it. No suspicion. Never said this person had anything to do with anything. I never covered him as a suspect on my show of anything at all. Didn't ask for more information on this person. That kid instantly responded and said, oh, those are our school colors, and that was it. And Turning Point tried to turn it into a thing. Why are you doing that? Regarding the Egyptian planes, that's a fact. Why are you saying she said that there was a military Egyptian plane on the ground that day? There was. In fact, there were two. So why are you pretending that that's like a weird thing to notice? And that is why people have been flagged about these planes. To his other
let me ask you about the planes.
I'm never allowed to answer a single question that you say in entirety before you move on to the next question.
You can't just keep talking ad infinitum. I'm allowed to ask you another question.
No, it's called answering.
Watching on delay, Curtis's doc is frustrating because of how much he gets wrong. Wilson embellished and spread the Illuminati conspiracy theory, but he did not create it. Oh, interesting. Thank you.
Just read an entire...
Well, I know he didn't create the concept of the Illuminati.
Statement of multiple points of Blake's.
But like, I don't get why Israel would use the Egyptian security service for an assassination. Like, what would Egyptian planes have to do with it?
To the second point, and you're like, let me ask you a question.
No, I want to ask you. No,
Piers, you already asked me a question. I'm trying to answer the question that you asked.
No, I want to ask you a follow-up specifically about the Egyptian planes, given you've now addressed it, which is, where is the evidence that any of these Egyptian planes were tracking Erica Kirk?
I am going to be publishing the full document because there's not even just 2 planes. There's actually 4 planes that have been flying in, and I should be more thorough because I realize that the
And
spreadsheet
tracking
I posted
Erica
people.
Kirk.
Not that. Let me. Can I just please, without you cutting me off, answer one thing? Okay, thank you. These Egyptian planes, more broadly speaking, now that we have gone deeper onto the planes, recognizing that the reaction to them is not normal, what we can say is that these Egyptian planes are tied to Israel. They've been flying in and out of Israel with their transponder off for years. But regarding the Turning Point USA picture, more broadly speaking, Turning Point USA...
What?
Faith, okay? Obviously, Erica has been involved in a lot of the church stuff. It's not specifically tracking just Erica. It's Turning Point faith events, broadly speaking. I gave that information as well. I told Justin Strife and Erica, I'm happy to give you this like color-coded spreadsheet. There's no question there's a correlation here between Turning Point USA faith in particular, which, by the way, from the beginning of this, I've said something is wrong with this faith contingent, especially because Rob McCoy for a while was heading up that department, and he makes my skin crawl. And so, yeah, I have the evidence for that, and we're going to actually publish it.
Some dude literally bought the 2/3 of her claim were wrong. Wait, where is that? Where is the planes she mentioned were in different countries at the time she claimed? Seriously?
On our website,
All right,
so there
but
can
I
be
can't-
no
okay.
question, which I should have done
All
from
right.
the very beginning.
Wait, but like, hasn't she been? I thought she'd already released this, and that's one. I don't fucking know, mate.
But let me ask you.
Showing that these planes were tracking Charlie at various times. There were Erica is, various times there were
Why?
Rob McCoy is, but the consistent thread here is faith events like Kingdom to the Capitol tour.
Assuming you're right, and I don't know, but I know Erica Kirk, when asked about this, said on CBS, if you want to go through my flight log, go right ahead. It's very boring. You, Candace, say I was here on this date. I have a photo on my phone to prove I was actually in hospital having contractions. So that's one thing she's directly repudiated. But let's assume for a moment you're right, and that all these Egyptian planes were flying around tracking Charlie Kirk and Turning Point, Faith and Erica Kirk. Why? What is your theory?
I don't know. I don't know.
But
I don't
what's
know.
your
That's- I
theory
don't
then?
know.
You must have an
My
idea what
theory
they...
is-
I suppose this is kind of the fun, that you create the answers for yourself. It's like a colouring in book, you know, or a paint by numbers thing. She gives you all of this and you just decide.
That we should investigate everything strange that happened on that day so we can figure out what happened.
But are you
This is literally
suggesting
just called
that
investigation.
are you suggesting
why is everybody
Egypt-
so? Why
It
are we
is
pretending that
utterly
we don't know why we?
ridiculous.
Do not suggest that Egypt was involved. Is it possible that Candace is claiming that Israel is successfully adding Egypt into Greater Israel? I mean, Egypt is largely part of the Greater United Arab Emirates, if it's part of fucking anything. Like, I know you're joking, but if Egypt is part of anything at all, it's Greater UAE. It is basically just an Emirati puppet state. You know, it is really nothing more than that.
Ask questions like why? Like you're a journalist.
But you
You
could have
know
a
what this
theory.
is. You're like, what's going on? What's
What's
going
your
on? Why do you
theory?
want to know why these planes were tracking Charlie? Well, my theory is that we are being sold absolute Fed slop. The media is doing their Operation Mockingbird Part 2 scenario by telling us, well, unless you absolutely have a conclusion, you can't even ask the question. Yes, we very well
But it
damn
may
can.
be, Candace.
Keep asking consistent questions until we get a clear.
By the way, the media silencing people asking questions looks like what went on with October the 7th, where, like, you know, questioning Israel's narrative around it. I mean, inside Israel, it's literally illegal to do so. But, like, around the world where you're demonized, you can lose your job if you ask questions about it. I mean, instantaneously, people were like, yeah, this is the Hannibal Directive. And we still don't know how many people were killed. I mean, there's confirmation of some that have been killed as a result of the Hannibal Directive, but we just frankly do not know how many people Israel killed that day. I mean, I'm sure some of you saw the Israeli propagandist talking about a special liquid.
Verified explanation for what happened on that day. And right now, we have nothing, okay? And that is the reason why people are watching my show, because I'm the only one not treating them like they're absolute idiots who don't have two eyes and who believe in magic bully theory
Candace,
and who understand that
Candace.
Egyptian planes should not.
Like, genuinely, look at the point that this narrative has reached. Deborah Lee is now posting All burnt cars from the Nova Mute Festival massacre. Hamas used a special liquid on 10/7 to make the tires they set hotter to incinerate all the bodies inside of them. Hamas is a genocidal jihadist terror cult. Strength is our legacy. Our survival is our promise. Jesus fucking Christ.
Not have been tracking Charlie even 3 times this year would be an anomaly,
But Candace,
okay? They've been tracking him. We don't know where it's going to end, but we are going to keep asking questions until we get clear answers.
Candace, it may be that the person in the media spewing bullshit to the public is you.
So, this is from a Twitter thread. Kane Koa the Great. 66% of Candace Owens' Egyptian plane's location claims are wrong. 60% are on the wrong continent. I rebuilt her spreadsheet. I purchased Flight 24 radar data. I verified it using $950 flight aware logs. Jesus. Candace has provided zero verifiable proof of Erica's location. 66% of Egyptian plane locations are wrong. 60% place the planes on the wrong continent. She provides no evidence to verify Erica Kirk's location. This is, by the way, like the Google Trends thing. I don't know if any of you saw this. Someone posted about the Google Trends thing, about how after every mass shooting now, someone goes on Google Trends and they find, hang on a second, actually, someone searched their name in Israel before. As much as I hate Israel, that's not true. The thing is just not that accurate, especially for a very rarely searched term. Isn't the special liquid called gasoline? No, it's the special liquid, mate. Over the last 21 episodes, she has repeatedly claimed that these Egyptian planes are the central key connecting the US government, Israel, France, Turning Point USA, and Brigitte Macron to Charlie Kirk's murder. The entire story collapses the moment you look at the receipts. This is not a matter of opinion. Anyone with a Flight 24 Radar 24 business description can independently verify it, and many already have. The data has been cross-checked and confirmed. Credit to... these people, Glamham Radio. What is this? Is this talking about date from Owen's fact sheet? Cairo, Paris to New York. The plane was in New York on 9/25. I mean, if someone wants to read through this, so this is an accurate claim. Accurate. Cairo to Paris and Paris to Wichita. This is hard to read, especially with my contacts in, but very interesting. You can check this thread if you want. I can't hear something like this and just be like, okay, right, yeah. Because the conspiracy that I'm going to believe about something Israel did is like, yeah, okay, there's someone at least with a bit of hard evidence about this. Or like that Libertarian Institute thing I was citing about Syria that's kind of like a conspiracy in the sense it's like, hey, maybe the the UK government were backing Islamist extremists for their own political gain. And there's a lot of information about that, and there's a reason and explanation.
No, nice try. It's not. It's you by saying, why are you asking questions? Don't you worry about Mikey's feelings? Everyone knows what this is. And like I said, because we have the example, the concrete example of after JFK's assassination, the media members quite literally being put on the payroll of the CIA, we have a historical example that we can look at and go, we're not doing that again. Doesn't matter how many times you keep telling the public that I'm spewing bullshit. It is only because there has not been anything that has come out of this investigation that makes any sense that the public is not listening to. I am sorry to say this, Piers, people like you. And what I love about you and I sitting down is that this exact same time last year, you were doing the same weird questioning and making all these things when I said that they were committing a Holocaust against the Gazans, and then you changed your mind.
Actually,
Piers,
this time...
I'll see you next year when you change your mind again, and we have more information about what happened, and you realize that the difference between me and you is that I have the courage to take the risks and ask the questions first, okay, before it's popular.
By the way, asking a question after October the 7th about what's happening in Gaza is not really profound or coming up with something amazing. I would say that people who've been asking much more serious questions were doing it well before October the 7th about genocide in Gaza.
You wait until it becomes popular and then you change your mind.
You may remember.
She is right about that, but...
That one of your courageous moves was to repeatedly tell the world that Brigitte Macron is a man. As you now know,
And she is.
As you now know, we had a $300,000 bet to charity about this because she's a woman.
Yes.
Is my view.
She's not a woman.
Well, we're going to find out, is the point, because it's going to court, they're suing you, and when she proves, as she will, that she's a woman, because it's very easy to prove, and you lose that case, then
So easy that she refuses to do it for years.
But then it will become more obvious to people that, look, I think you're a brilliant operator at what you do. That's, you know, I like you personally. You know that, right? None of this is personal for me about you at all. I just have watched him last year from Brigitte Macron now into the Charlie Kirk story. I think you've developed a modus operandi, which, to put it politely, is you flying what we would call in the world of journalism kites, and just seeing what can cause the most merry hell, therefore get you the biggest audience, therefore make...
The conspiracy here, like, I tried to listen to the TrueAnon episode. Oh my God, this stuff is insane.
...you the most amount of money. And people have, as you know, you've been widely attacked now by a lot of people who say that you're just a ghoul, a vulture. You're doing this deliberately. You're inventing things or just flying ludicrous conspiracy theories to make money. Now, again, Candace, I don't know that you are, but I do know.
Celebrity.
Can you not interrupt?
Yeah, Brigitte Macron is definitely a pedo, though. Yeah.
Let me finish.
I
do think it's pretty rich. It's pretty rich coming from you, is all I'm going to say. That's me putting it very nicely, given your background, your career, your celebrity involvement, Princess Diana. Wrong messenger is what I'll say right off the top, okay? Wrong messenger. What you are mistaking, or I guess we're not even mistaking because you know what this is. You're talking about power versus the people. And you are always on the side of power first. You're on the...
Like... One of her kids, right, is apparently born in... Oh, Candace claims that her kids are adopted.
...side of the Israelis. It's so horrible. And, I'm going to pretend I don't see tens of thousands of Gazans dying.
I've actually been very critical of the Israelis, as you know, in the last year.
Everybody knows Brigitte Macron has a penis, okay? It's very easy to...
To be fair, Candace can own him here because he is not pro-Palestine or critical of Israel. He literally just toes a line.
Sent photos of 30 years of your life. Brigitte keeps teasing. Brigitte, nobody asked you for a blood test. We asked you for some photos and you refused to do it. And everybody knows that Charlie Kirk was not shot by Tyler Robinson on a rooftop. I am sorry that in this day and age, there seems to be such a shortage of testosterone that a woman has to be the person that states the obvious, right? I invite you to join me, and I know that...
Tokyo, thanks for the 1,000 yen. The real question is Chris really British? His accent slips at times. I have pinned it down. Sounds like from Pee-Pee. Yes, a real town. Anyways, almost 3 a.m. Off to bed and free Palestine. Thank you so much for the donation. But yeah. I mean, maybe one day I'll be being investigated by Candace, but I don't know.
You will by the end of
Thanks as always, Tokyo, and sleep well.
Next year, because they're not going to get away with what they did to my friend Charlie Kirk, and I am not going to change my mind, least of all when I am being called names by someone who has quite a year background and experience in doing things because it's lucrative and not always because it's sensitive.
Sure,
it's always lovely.
You can call me a hypocrite as much as you want. I don't care. It's fine. I'm just simply saying what other people have been saying about you. I didn't say I felt that.
Thank you.
I said
I'll let you know what people are saying about you too. I'll keep you posted.
Read it
people are saying
like
about you.
I read it all the time. But I would say that, like I said at the start of this interview, I don't know whether any of the things you're saying are true or not. I just do know you're saying a huge amount of stuff. It's making you very wealthy. You're getting millions and millions of people coming in, which by the way...
What is this idea that it's making me very wealthy?
I wonder how much she makes per stream. That would actually be so interesting.
Explain that slowly.
Yes, I'm going to explain it to you slowly because I had a huge run-in, for example...
This is just like a talking point.
No, I'm going to explain exactly what I mean. When Sandy Hook happened and Alex Jones began weaponizing the Sandy Hook tragedy and weaponizing the grief of the poor parents who'd lost their children, and I began to attack him in public, and then eventually there was a court case and it turned out he'd been spewing deliberate lies, and that every time he spewed them, they found he made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in the immediate aftermath of spewing the repeated lies that it was all staged and the families were actors and so on, which he knew to be lies, and he made himself extremely rich and ended up with $1 billion defamation finding against him because he'd been deliberately weaponizing people's grief. And the charge...
Yeah, I'm asking you to explain the actual financial metrics. How was he making money?
I'm explaining to you the...
Are you joking? Like, of course he was making money. I mean, it is crazy what Alex Jones spread about that, but, you know, it doesn't really surprise me. It was a very lucrative industry, wasn't it? And I'm sure some of his claims were convincing to many people.
Analogy, which is there are, as you know, right now, a lot of people, from Tim Pool to the New York Post to others, who've come out very stridently in the last week, and say that's exactly what you've been doing with Erica Kirk.
Yeah, but you haven't answered the question. So this is just made up. As I said, this is just all fluff.
Certainly, I think the thing that has been most unappealing to me about this is there is, like, no actual questions here. No actual answers. It's just, well, this thing, that thing, this thing, that thing, this thing, that thing. There's many inconsistencies. Yeah, there are many inconsistencies, unfortunately.
You're suggesting that I'm making money. Did I sign a new advertiser? Are we reading more? Are we reading more ads? Do we put this somewhere else? Do we sign a book deal?
The more views you get on YouTube, the more money you make.
Did I sell a T-shirt? Okay, but like, come on now, Piers. Money on YouTube? Are you kidding me? I was already in a top 10 podcast globally before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And if you think that I would want my friend to be assassinated so I could go from being in the top 5 to being number 1, you're out of your mind, okay?
To be fair, like 300K, is there anyone else who ever pulls in those numbers? Because 300K on YouTube is legitimate as well. Like 300K watching you live.
I'm telling you.
But like the point is that everyone who is saying that I'm making more money cannot say how I'm making more money because it's just not true. Okay, so you're like, oh, she got a bump in viewership talking about Charlie.
Your YouTube numbers
everyone in the world because it was a public assassination.
And
then it went up in the weeks following, and it went back to normal.
Candace, are your YouTube numbers up since you've been doing the Charlie Kirk investigations?
What I am saying to you is that this is the exact same argument you guys had about Brigitte. So it can't, and then the same exact
but
same
I think you were lying about Brigitte.
About the Blake Lively thing. Okay, but like, what about the Blake Lively thing? So you can't keep saying that, oh, she's always in the top 10 because she's talking about something. Or this is my podcast and it's me. It's just me. People enjoy my podcast because I don't treat them like they're idiots. I don't treat them like they should accept that Brigitte Macron just can't present one photo of herself raising her kids across 30 years. It's just too much to ask. Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
Sorry, I'm searching the Brigitte Macron thing of like,
how dare you? It's such an intrusion of privacy. She'd rather file a transatlantic lawsuit than to just produce photos and put all of this to bed.
That's the
difference between you and I. So now there's this lie, this repeat lie from Kamala Chronicles, which we did, looking into Kamala's background because it was relevant to the election cycle. Then we did the Blake Lively lawsuit, and they said, oh, she's trying to change her brand. That's the only reason her numbers are up. Then we went to Brigitte, which I lost, by the way. I had to get a whole career change when I first covered that story. So joke's on me if I'm doing this to make money, but I was willing to be fired to tell the truth. And then it's all about Brigitte. And now we've arrived at Charlie Kirk. I feel like there's something about that actually is just people not being willing to admit that what people appreciate about me and why they keep coming back is that I'm willing to take risks to tell the truth.
No, I think don't get me wrong.
I was already sold out on ads at the end of the year because our podcast was successful. Yeah, I have not sold a T-shirt, nothing with his name on it. It's just me.
Candace, the reason I told the Alex Jones story is
Piers isn't a ghoul. He's a man who saved a young boy on his holiday in New York. So please can we retract that previous comment?
He did incredibly well out of Sandy Hook with his investigations. But as was established in the court case against him, brought by the families eventually, and I think we're going to see the same thing with Brigitte Macron and you, is that he was weaponizing deliberate lies for money. And I think you
Brigitte
did that.
Macron has a penis. I really want you to know that.
Brigitte Macron does not have a penis.
Brigitte Macron has a penis.
No, she doesn't.
I'm sorry.
She had 3 children.
Did she get it removed?
She had 3 children.
Yeah, you can have adoptive children. You can call somebody, but Brigitte Macron was born a dude named Jean-Michel Trogneau. And I just feel, I want you to know that. I want you to know that Brigitte Macron probably stands peeing up. Probably pees standing up is what I want you to know.
The beauty is we have a big bet.
I think Brigitte
we have a big bet, and we're going to find out because it's going to court. And, you know, you will lose that court case. I think you know you will.
Yeah.
I am not going to lose a court case because Brigitte is presenting evidence that Brigitte was born a woman, because that's never even been offered. That's just their PR coming after and saying these things. Nobody believes that Brigitte Macron is just unable to present any pictures. Nobody's
Candace didn't even invent that conspiracy theory, in my understanding. It was invented by some French people.
Asking for blood.
All right, well, let's wait for the court case. Let's wait for the court case.
Okay, great.
Now, look,
and you will be proven wrong again unless there's just federal corruption.
Okay, in the fallout from your encounter with Erica Kirk, Nick Fuentes said Candace Owens is done.
Out.
What a letdown.
Oh, LOL.
Tim Pool has called you evil. He says you're motivated by the fact you were secretly in love with Charlie Kirk. Is that true?
This is such ridiculous. Like, this is what I mean when I say, like, it's like LOL Fed slop. Oh, did Tim Pool say that I was secretly in love with him? This is, it's so, come on, there's no substance to this. This is so ridiculous. It's by any means necessary, come out and attack Candace. The New York Post did an article that it was honestly amazing fan fiction. They even said that we used to work at Daily Wire. I'd throw my keys at my staff, and my staff hated me. I did not drive to work a single day when I was at the Daily Wire. They had a driver take me there. So
God, no wonder the Daily Wire is going out of business if they were spending money on fucking drivers for their hosts. Thinking they were like the people from Succession when it's just Ben Shapiro being like, I love Israel, and you guys should too, because Israel is really good.
Just now in this weird spot where they're just making things up every single day. They said that my husband had a Qatari passport, and I just ignore it, and I keep investigating because I know what it's meant to do. It's meant to distract me. I'm very aware of what these people are trying to do, and it's not working. So I don't really feel moved by the rantings of Nick Fuentes and Tim Pool.
All right. Which of your theories when you were with Erica did she think was convincing?
We didn't. What do you mean by that?
Well, did she think that Israel was involved? Did she think that there were French paratroopers involved? Did she think the Egyptian planes were complicit? Did she believe that Turning Point employees were involved? Which of the many theories
I wasn't. I guess.
Did she think is actually got any merit to it?
I think you're characterizing it like I sat down and tried to convince her of my theories. That wasn't the nature of the meeting that we had. I shared information with her and told her, what the feds were ignoring, and these are the things I'm looking into. Obviously explained to her about the Egyptian planes and this bizarre connection to, Turning Point faith events and tours. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of like sharing the information with her.
So what's the theory? I've listened to an hour and I don't understand.
There was nothing that...
But again, here's my problem, Candace.
I don't understand how we get from these Egyptian planes to Israel, and what Egyptian planes have to do with that, apart from maybe they went to Israel.
With the whole thing,
I don't know what to say.
Everything is like you're just asking questions, you're sharing information, you're doing this. But when I actually ask you to be specific about who do you think did what, that's where it all hits a shuddering halt. You don't know, do you?
I do think the one of you who proffered the theory that it may have been bad empanada. I like that one.
You don't actually know, anyway.
Of course, if I actually knew who shot Charlie Kirk, I would be instantly publicizing it. I'd say, I figured it out. That's not how an investigation works. Piers just doesn't work like that, okay? You have to follow the clues until you arrive at a conclusion. Of course, I cannot confidently state that it was, John Smith who shot Charlie Kirk from the left side. I don't know.
As in the beer guy, the English ale company, John Smith's.
Know that yet. I don't know that information yet. And when I do know it, I will publicize it without question. I just am pointing out the inconsistencies, the lies. He was not shot with 30-06, and he did not have a Man of Steel neck.
How do you know?
That's completely made up. Well, actually, that's going to be my show today. I do now factually know that Man of Steel thing was made up, and that never came from the surgeon's mouth. So again, we have another lie. We have another lie coming out of Turning Point USA. And put in quotation marks that lie, that it was a direct quote from the surgeon. That was made up. So yeah, I'm going to keep track of all of these lies, deliver them to the public, and allow them to surmise. I'm going to allow them to think critically while it's still legal. I know it's...
To be fair, that is an insane conspiracy. Andrew Colvert claimed to have spoken to a surgeon that tried to save Mr. Kirk's life and posted on social media to discuss the apparent lack of an exit wound. Brace Belden was saying, though, that as someone who'd seen a lot of people get shot, sometimes it just does different things.
barely legal in the UK, and it's becoming increasingly less legal here in the United States. So I'm going to use every opportunity to ask every question.
Okay, but pre the meeting with Erica, you repeatedly questioned why we weren't being told where Charlie Kirk is buried, or even if he has been buried yet. Did you get those answers?
You have the wrong commentator who questioned that. I think that was Milo Yiannopoulos.
You've never questioned, you've never asked where Charlie's buried?
Nope. I just communicated to the people that he had a Catholic funeral mass, because people were saying I was lying about him going to a Catholic church, which was another random attack that I had to endure. So I never said that people don't know where Charlie Kirk's buried. That's just the wrong commentator.
Do you know where he's been buried?
I actually genuinely never got to that question with Erica, but I do know where he's. I think the implication that Milo made, again, you'd have to ask him, was that he's not buried. I do know where there is a spot for him to be buried or to be held in a mausoleum. But I never, that's just, you have the wrong person on that.
Erica was in
pilgrimage to the Charlie Kirk mausoleum one day. Maybe that's a good outing for the chat.
In the CBS thing that she wanted you to stop with the conspiracy theories, or maybe you've got it all right and all of this stuff is...
She explained at some point what she asked, but who fucking knows?
It's true, and it's all involving the Israelis and Egypt and Turning Point in a mass conspiracy with this young kid, Tyler Robinson, brought in, and they're all involved in this dramatic murder of Charlie Kirk. Maybe let's just assume for a moment you're 100% right. But she did tell you publicly before you met to stop. What's clear is you're not going to stop. So is she okay with you now continuing to talk about your theories, or does she still want you to stop?
Well, she didn't ask me to stop. If that's the question that you're asking, is throughout that meeting,
Well, she did publicly, obviously. So your response to that is what?
I'm telling you that then we had a conversation, and I was not asked throughout that conversation to stop. And to the contrary, I shared information that I had, and I got information from them.
Right.
That helps.
So you will carry on.
Focus.
You will carry on.
Yes.
With the theories.
Yes. Until I feel confident of who killed Charlie Kirk, I will not stop.
I'm sorry, but that's odd. That is unusual that they had a meeting and now it's just... They had a 4-hour meeting after Erica Kirk was like, stop, and now she's allowed to go on?
Investigating this.
And Erica is okay with you doing that?
I don't know how many other ways to answer your question other than saying she did not ask me or request for me to stop in person. And when we spoke about that moment, she felt that Barry Weiss was being Barry Weiss.
And she made no request of you whatsoever, Erica Kirk, in 4.5 hours?
Request in what sense?
About how she would like you to conduct yourself about the murder of her husband going forward?
No.
Nothing at all?
No, she didn't make a request for me to conduct myself in any way.
And she expressed no concern about any of the theories that you've been putting out?
I think she probably knows me through the lens of her husband, so I don't know if that would be a thing that she would have done. But no, she did not. She did not ask me to conduct myself in any way. That seems to just be coming from the media.
I'm sorry, what? I don't get this. Like, these answers are so pathetic. From both of them. There should have been more points where Piers should have pulled up videos, but at the same time, what? Like, why can't you answer a question about this?
How I should conduct myself.
Am I right in thinking that your mind has taken you to a place where you genuinely believe that Israel, Egypt, Turning Point employees, and Tyler Robinson, and potentially others, but they were all involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Well, to be fair, I think we're all putting Egypt in parentheses because we kind of don't think that we have exactly a strong Egyptian lobby here in the United States. And there is a lot of historical precedent with Israel kind of using Egyptian planes or using the Egyptian narrative when they want to accomplish things. So, I mean, I just pointed out that this is...
What's the historical precedent? I genuinely don't know. Like, what, the Lavon affair, maybe? I don't know. I don't know.
An Egyptian plane, but Israel, I got tons of questions about. Yeah, I think Israel is a very good place to start when Bibi Netanyahu is just denying and just way too involved in the beginning. That was weird. Everyone felt it was weird, and they were right to feel that it was weird. And when Bibi admits that he called him to 2 weeks before and invited him to Israel. Like, what's that about? People are being, and also because it just happens to be that from the very beginning, Zionists don't want us investigating the Charlie Kirk assassination. So it's just, I would say, the usual suspects. You are correct that I have and sent information, and it has not.
Yeah, Candace should have been asked by Piers if why he's confused. Whether we were carrying the flame. Lydia, I think that's an important question that has been overlooked here.
Denied by the Élysée Palace, the White House, or the Pentagon that the French Foreign Legion was on the ground that day. Again, something that I flagged to Turning Point USA, Justin Strife, that for whatever reason, the feds don't want this information, which is a bit strange, or don't seem to be interested, or maybe
so
they're
we add the French Foreign Legion to the list as well.
Yeah, but the French Foreign Legion is like a bandit of, I mean, what I've learned about them now is it's like it's a bunch of different countries. It's not just French people. And yeah, that all sounds about right to me. Is there anything else I can answer?
I think we've probably covered it. It's a lot of people involved in this murder. And my guess...
And I don't understand in any way what the link between any of it is.
Candace, for what it's worth, is it'll turn out none of that is true. And that it was Tyler Robinson who, for his own politically motivated reasons, hence brandishing the bullet casings with words like anti-fascist slogans and so on, that's why he did it. He believed that he'd been led to believe Charlie Kirk was a fascist, so he had to kill him.
Oh, Piers Morgan is such a prick. He was led to believe Charlie Kirk was a fucking hateful piece of shit.
Which is a different issue about why I feel so strongly that these words shouldn't be bandied about.
Charlie Kirk was talking about prowling blacks. You piece of shit. You can read his writings and literally compare them to Hitler. It's not just that Charlie Kirk was like a little bit of a bad guy. The guy was an extremist racist who used his platform to get Donald Trump elected. Using the term fascist is not that outrageous. It's not why Charlie Kirk was shot as well. There are many people who hate Charlie Kirk and think that he is a fascist and do not shoot him.
Young minds, it can have that effect on them. We see it time and again. But look, if it turns out that you're right and that Charlie Kirk was murdered by a group of people, including the French Foreign Legion, Egypt, Israel, Turning Point, his own employees, and they were all in on this to murder Charlie Kirk, you will be proven 100% right. And I will be the first to salute your brilliant investigative journalism. But in return, if it turns out you're completely wrong, then I would expect you to come back on Uncensored and admit you were completely wrong. Is that a fair deal?
I was hoping that by the time we did this, I'd be able to do that because they showed me something that was so compelling. That didn't happen. So, yeah, deal is on, as always. Between you and I, the deal is on.
Excellent. I'll add it to the list.
By the way, there is actually another video that I kind of want to watch that pertains to this, but it's probably going to be a lot better. It's current affairs.
Absurd right-wing arguments. Even wrote a book called Responding to the Right. Brief replies to 25 conservative arguments available.
So this is Candace Owens and the Decay of the American Brain by Nathan J. Robinson. I like current affairs. He wrote a good article about Douglas Murray's insane new book.
From fine booksellers everywhere. But conservative podcaster and author Candace Owens is really on another level entirely. Many of her proclamations are so bizarre, they seem better described as symptoms than ideas. She has said, for instance, that the Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz are performing a satanic ritual when they celebrate the death of the Wicked Witch.
Before the Wicked Witch, if that's what we're calling her, shows up, the Munchkins, Oompa Loompas, whatever you want to call them, are throwing a party while there is a dead person under a house, and they're skipping with Dorothy, saying ding dong, the witch is dead. While there's a dead person at center, right? There's somebody that's dead, and they're dancing and saying, witch, oh witch, the wicked witch. Obviously, this is some sort of a satanic ritual.
She says that Justin Trudeau, Barack Obama, Vladimir Zelensky, and Emmanuel Macron are all gay, and that this is, quote, not a coincidence. She has cast doubt on the crimes of Nazi doctor Joseph Mengele, saying his ghoulish experiments sound absurd and would have been a waste of time and supplies.
Some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd. I mean, like the idea that they just like cut a human up and then sewed them back together. Why would you do that? Literally.
What the fuck? Bro, you're doubting Candace when she's exposing the truth about her friend's murder. If you cannot see the link between Brigitte's gender and Mossad, you're part of the conspiracy. Yeah, I guess I can't. And I guess the donation from Cindy the Skull, the £3.43. I'm a body language expert and everything she said is true. True.
Even if you're the most evil person in the world, that's a tremendous waste of time and supplies. Just slice a person in half and sew them together. That just sounds like bizarre propaganda.
Naturally,
Jesus Christ, I don't doubt that Mengele did those things.
Of course, believe.
Yeah. You wait till you hear about Unit 731.
We faked the moon landing. In fact, she says all of our space programs were both fake and gay.
You must come to terms with the fact that NASA and space missions have always been this fake and gay. You just weren't alive for the original ones.
Also, by the way, there is the oddity of, like, JFK being like, yeah, we're going to get to the moon, and the fact that they basically lied about losing the space race because the Soviet Union got things into space first, right, in my understanding? They didn't get a man on the moon first, but either way, the amount of people required to fake the moon landing is truly unbelievable, so that's why I don't believe that one is fake.
And you need to learn the history of NASA, of the Apollo programs, which were occult and satanic. It was literally meant to be an antichrist movement to make people believe in man.
And she now claims that the French Foreign Legion were involved in the killing of Charlie Kirk.
But on like a tweet, she's so open and just states, oh, the French Foreign Legion did this, but then she's not very clear on Morgan.
Possibly at the direction of Brigitte Macron, whom Owens thinks is transgender, and she now believes that she herself is being pursued by assassins dispatched by the French government.
I'm sorry, but, like, genuinely, that is unbelievable, that the French government wants to assassinate her for transvestigation.
You might think that these delusions would limit people's interest in listening to...
Hello, Vinny Canetti. Yeah, moon landing was fake by France and Egypt. I mean, plausibly. Fake and gay, come on. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't consider that. Good to see you as always, River Wand.
Candace Owens. Doesn't the average person have enough common sense to realize that she's totally detached from reality? Well, I have bad news for you. She has an audience of millions. She has, according to one ranking, the second most viewed and downloaded podcast across all platforms.
Bro, what? I don't even know any of these podcasts' existence apart from Joe Rogan and Candace. Rotten Mango, SXM Media. No idea. The Oprah podcast. I mean, I feel like Oprah having a podcast, maybe not that surprising. Smosh reads Reddit stories.
Averaging 3.7 million listeners an episode. Our YouTube channel has over 1 billion views, 5.6 million subscribers, and brings in hundreds of thousands of dollars a month.
By the way, the earnings will be far higher than 260k. Far higher. Probably like 500,000 a month minimum. And I look forward, Greg, to the explanation.
She has over 7 million Twitter followers, another 6.5 million on Instagram, and she was the subject of a recent CNN special, The World According to Candace Owens. She's leading part of a sprawling and hugely successful right-wing media ecosystem. Now, how can someone...
Didn't Smosh come out as gay recently? No, that was Dan and Phil. Sorry. No. Sorry, I did not mean to say that.
So delusional attract an audience of millions. And what does that say about our country? Well, for starters, Owens is a skilled presenter. She's telegenic, she's polished, and she's a fluid speaker. She might be saying things that are patently untrue or that lack any evidence, but she does it with such conviction and professionalism that one can see how a gullible person might think she knew what she was talking about. There's also the Owens method. Now, it's not the scientific method. Owens has said explicitly that she has, quote, left the cult of science, which she believes is a pagan faith. The epistemology of Owens, which is not to be confused with Owenism, which is a socialist philosophy with a noble history. That epistemology is, in her words, as follows.
Science has become a pagan faith. Yes, that's what I actually believe. And I said, if I don't get it from the Bible and I can't observe it with my own eyes, I don't stand it as the truth.
So that means, for instance, that she professes herself agnostic on the question of whether the Earth is flat.
I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a round earther. Actually, what I am is I am somebody who has left the cult of science. I have left the mega church of science. Because what I have now...
Yeah, at a certain point, I feel like this kind of invalidates most of the stuff you say, where you're saying you left the cult of science. What the heck? I mean, like, granted, I don't think the idea of just going, look to the experts is going to solve it. A lot of people don't buy that anymore. And there are many times where, like, some experts have said and done very problematic things. But, yeah, I mean, I think Flat Earth is a bit out there for me.
Realize is that science, what it is actually, if you think about it, is a pagan faith.
And you won't be surprised to learn that she rejects climate science, even claiming that Scientific American's articles on the subject can't be trusted because the website is a .com rather than a .org.
You don't think we have to care about the environment? Like,
No, not even a little bit. Like,
not even a little bit?
No. Okay, let me clarify this. I don't throw trash on the ground. Like,
Okay.
I'm not saying, like, we need to, like, trash the environment. Like, but do I believe in climate change? No.
In 2014, the vast majority, 87% of scientists, said that human activity is driving global warming, yet only half the American public ascribe to that view. So,
Well, what website is
87%, and this is
Scientific American.
Yeah.
Yeah, .com though, like 'cause that means it's making money. I don't trust that. If it was a .org, I would probably take that. But this is just a random website, and
Well,
I don't
Scientific
trust.
American is not necessarily a random website. It's,
I do agree that she is a baddie. It's just unfortunate that to me she comes across as fucking like out there levels of deranged.
I don't believe this. Like
I find it really, really, really hard to like square the circle here with like all the stuff she says.
Just so you know.
Interestingly, Owens' own website is also a .com, while Current Affairs is a more respectable .org. Nevertheless, even though she rejects science, there is an Owens method of truth-seeking, and it's worth scrutinizing because it helps us understand how normal, often intelligent people come to believe things that have no connection whatsoever with factual reality. The key thing to understand is that Owens doesn't think she's detached from reality. She thinks she's uncovering deep hidden truths which are concealed by nefarious elite actors. She goes about it with a classic conspiracist mindset, finding patterns in random data points, seeing every inconsistency or gap as proof that the conventional wisdom must be...
He's not wrong that she's photogenic. Like, I think that you're... Like, obviously, she's not a very particularly nice person. She went to Israel's embassy opening in 2018. Her entire life has been dedicated to the Republican Party. It's hardly nice, but yeah.
A carefully concocted lie. Now, in this worldview, the fact that you can't come up with a sensible, overarching theory is not a sign of your own failure as an analyst, but just proof that the mystery goes even deeper than you think. Consider Owens' approach to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, the standard conservative read on this is that Kirk was killed by a fanatical left-winger with a transgender partner, furnishing proof that transgender people are a menace to society and the left is prone to political violence. Now, if you're a particularly conspiratorially minded right-winger, you might think that other trans people were involved as well. Laura Loomer, for instance, blames a trans terror cell with other targets as well. Now, that theory is at least grounded in the fact that Kirk's alleged shooter was apparently upset over Kirk's anti-LGBTQ bigotry. Kirk's killer being a liberal also makes sense. Kirk did say incredibly inflammatory and bigoted things, and those things made a lot of people angry, and angry people in America have easy access to guns, as Charlie Kirk believed that they should. And in a polarized country, it's likely that at least some of the angry people with the guns are going to attempt murder. Owens.
Yeah, I mean, the desperation to blame trans people is indeed ridiculous, garlic fries. Yeah, 100%. I mean, a lot of people have cooked up interesting conspiracies around that. Should we treat her positions as if she actually holds them? It seems to me that the remaining neutral on Flat Earth is so as not to isolate any conspiracy theorist. I think I agree with you on that much.
Theory, though, is different.
I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. Whether he was involved, I think the answer is yes. I think that's obvious.
She has now devoted dozens of episodes of her podcast to probing the...
I wish you guys watched this enough that I could just do a 47-minute stream about whether Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk or not. I need more of you. More.
Assassination. She said it was a military operation and concluded that the French Foreign Legion was apparently involved and on the ground at Utah Valley University on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. But it wasn't just the French. She says that a military meeting with foreign leaders took place on July 20th on U.S. soil, implying multiple foreign governments.
Why would foreign leaders need to assassinate Charlie Kirk? I need that explained to me. Like, why? This isn't even mentioned in the Piers Morgan stuff.
Governments were involved. Owens has said there were 12 Israeli cell phones on campus that day.
There were, for whatever reason, 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground at Utah Valley University.
That is perhaps the least surprising piece of evidence in the entire world. It would not surprise me if there were 1 million Israeli cell phones there. Charlie Kirk is like the epitome of someone that Israelis would love.
The day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And they are desperate for some reason to stop that information from being released to the public. Why?
And she's zeroed in on a supposed Egyptian military plane that she believes was tracking Kirk's wife, Erica, in the year leading up to the assassination.
That the person the planes were actually tracking for years was Erica. Not Charlie, but Erica was the one being tracked by these planes.
Whichever foreign government or governments killed Charlie Kirk, according to Owens, apparently they all had color coordinated their outfits.
As I've reviewed this footage, and any time that I think that somebody is shady or somebody is brought to my attention that is involved or I would like more information on, they happen to be wearing a maroon shirt. I think it means something. I think we need to hone in on the men, the people in the audience that are wearing maroon shirts. I don't think it's your go-to color for most men.
The color maroon, she says, she has discovered.
What?
Is associated with elite airborne operations. Oh, and it wasn't just the maroon-wearing legionnaires. Owens claims to have...
We're watching Current Affairs, Candace Owens and the Decay of the American Brain. I like someone recommended it, and I like Current Affairs, I like Current Affairs shit. There is nothing to understand, Chris. That's the beauty of it. I mean, to me, it feels that way.
Have evidence that members of Kirk's own organization, Turning Point USA, betrayed him. A belief that was bolstered when Kirk appeared to her in a dream and told her he had been betrayed.
Had a vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. I don't know who exactly it is that betrayed him, but I also felt in the dream that it is soon going to be revealed, that it's actually inevitable that it is going to be revealed, that there's...
I had a dream before I debated Loner Box, and I think it was obviously like an anxiety thing. But I like, in the dream, it was like we were in real life, and I like slapped him in the face in the dream, and I was like, oh shit, that's gonna look bad on camera. Like, it wasn't like a full-on slap, like I just like smacked him on the nose for some reason. That was an odd dream, but... I didn't think... I should have, like, said, in a dream, it was revealed to me that I was going to hit Loner Box and Israel was going to kill Charlie Kirk.
Nothing and no one that is going to stop the truth from coming out, and it is going to have international consequences.
Now, it's never quite clear what Owens is actually alleging took place. Egypt, France, and Israel teamed up to kill Charlie Kirk with some of the Turning Point USA staff. I don't think Owens herself even has a clue what coherent theory of Kirk's killing this could all add up to. But in Owens' world, the fact that none of it makes sense is not proof she's barking up the wrong tree. Rather, it's proof she needs to dig deeper.
This is the thing. I can't understand this. I don't know if I haven't watched enough, but like I just watched her speak for an hour and I don't get it. I don't get it. There is a certain level where if you've been researching with hundreds of thousands of people who watch you all the time to be like, okay, we've got Mikey McCoy doing X thing, this person doing X thing. I don't know how something doesn't emerge. Like, I want to be convinced. Yeah, it was a strange dream. It was a very strange dream. I went like that on his nose, and it was, and the reason, and then the dream was like, then in the debate, like I couldn't really talk. Also, sorry, this is to just detract quickly. Noam Chomsky has been being absolutely slaughtered in these Epstein files. Noam Chomsky, over and over again. Why was this man with Epstein so much? Like, here he is on the private plane. He doesn't even look that old there. Crazy. There's new photos, by the way, from Epstein. Maybe we'll cover those. I'm sorry the stream hasn't really gone the way people might have hoped. I've just sort of been fucking around, but I've done a lot of long-ass streams recently, so we move.
To find the ways in which it could all make sense, in which all the little dots can finally be connected, undoubtedly with red string.
This is, by the way, how every conspiracy theory operates. Many things inconsistently happen, and if you go down every single route and it doesn't lead anywhere, that's why I'm like, okay. Like, when someone explains to me a JFK theory, and they're like, well, you know, JFK warmed towards Cuba. The mob did not like Cuba-related issues because they'd been driven out of Cuba and were hoping for a return to a status quo. Jack Ruby ran nightclubs for the mob. The mob stood to gain a lot from JFK's assassination. There, I start to think, okay, yeah, Jack Ruby goes in and inexplicably kills Lee Harvey Oswald. Something to me adds up there, or feels like maybe there's something in there. This, I don't know. I don't get it, because she's not even like, even in that thing, she wasn't like, no, Israel killed him. Why would France kill Charlie Kirk for turning on Israel?
She never finds any answer, and she won't, because none of this makes any sense. It will be because they, the nefarious, unspecified entities who control everything, have carefully covered their tracks. Now, I realize that it may be hard for current affairs readers.
That's the point. Having things unexplainable are easier to understand than having things that are simple and explain just how messed the world up is. I think also the other problem that people have about like this kind of stuff is that when something genuinely shakes you to your core, and like you think about the world, and it makes you fundamentally re-examine and be like, holy shit, we're headed towards destruction, everything is bad. You know, that's harder. And also, capitalism is a very, very confusing system, in the sense is there's not really like one master of capitalism. We don't really know who we served. If we lived under like, you know, a king, an empire, we lived and died for that king, you know? It's like in a war. Who do people die for? Did they die for the American vision of freedom and democracy? No. They died for probably BP's bottom line. Like, I think that's kind of the truth of it. They died for BP's bottom line. But even then, is it really BP's bottom line when Halliburton and so many others stood to gain so much from it? Like, these things are much more a fundamental examination of the ways our society are, rather than just like kind of going, nah, there's actually just like this evil cabal of people who control anything and everything. It's less of like a conflicting system of like, this is all quite complex, but it does all boil down to capitalism bad, baby.
To listen.
Yeah, people want a distinct villain because it's less hystericizing than actually being like, shit, there's a lot of complexity to this system.
To paragraphs of Candace Owens' conspiracy theories without feeling as if your brain is melting. But let me depress you a little. The comment sections on these videos are not full of people saying, Candace, my dear, what the hell are you even talking about? Or, Candace has lost the plot. Or, please, Candace, seek help. Instead, they are full of people in awe of Owens' courage and integrity, pleading with her to continue her investigation of the dark, shadowy entities that rule the world. A sample includes, bravest effing woman in the world, I am actually in tears in admiration of your bravery and commitment.
Not sure why you're bringing this up. I like that and feel the same.
To truth. Honestly, Candace, you're literally the only person that matters in media right now. I don't care to watch anything else but you. You're a gift from God. Stay safe, please. Humanity needs you. I fear what Candace will uncover is darker than we all think. Charlie noticed something and he didn't stand a chance. Now Candace is breaking the internet. She's bigger than any corporate media. At one point tonight, 175,000 were watching her live. A lot of people won't be sleeping tonight. Go Max, Candace. Go Max.
Capitalism isn't exactly bad. It's just a system that has overstayed its use and is now harmful. I think always prioritizing profit over human beings was always going to lead us towards destruction.
I really don't think they understand. We don't believe any of you. We stand with you, Candace. Now, each of these comments also has thousands of likes. on YouTube. Hardly any of Owens' viewers show any sign they have scrutinized her claims in any way. And those claims have gotten more and more outlandish over time. In her first book, Blackout, Owens essentially repeated Thomas Sowell's argument that big government is bad for black Americans and liberals hurt the very people they're trying to help. At that point, she dealt mostly in standard issue conservative talking points of the kind you might find in the Wall Street Journal op-ed page. But today, her obsessions are more bizarre and idiosyncratic. Owens became obsessively dedicated to exposing French First Lady Brigitte Macron as transgender, producing an
I would expose her more as a pedophile, but that's obviously the easy one.
8-part documentary series called Becoming Brigitte, in which she alleges that the supposed First Lady is actually her own brother, who transitioned to become a woman early in life. Now, this kind of ugly transvestigation, in which people accuse various famous people of secretly being transgender, is common, but Owens has pushed her claims against Macron unusually aggressively, saying she would stake her entire professional career on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was born a man. Now, the Macrons have sued Owens over this false claim, and bizarrely, Owens treats the lawsuit as further proof that she's right. She says the Macrons have not, in fact, sued her over claiming that Miss Macron is transgender. She, meaning Brigitte Macron, Owens says, isn't suing me for saying she's a man. She's never sued anyone ever for saying she's a dude because she is one, Owens says. But if you take a look at the 250-page legal complaint filed by the Macrons against Owens, you'll see that actually that's exactly what she is being sued for. And it says it over and over in the complaint. The complaint begins, quote, in March 2024, Candace Owens, a right-wing podcaster, told the world she would stake her entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is, in fact, a man. Since then, Owens has used this false statement to promote her independent platform, gain notoriety, and make money. Owens disregarded all credible evidence disproving her claim in favor of platforming known conspiracy theorists and proven defamers, and rather than engage with President and Mrs. Macron's attempts to set the record straight, Owens mocked them and used them as additional fodder for her frenzied fan base.
You cannot deny that this shit is funny. I mean, I don't have much sympathy for Brigitte Macron or Macron generally, but, like, just sitting there and claiming I've never been sued for that when this is how the lawsuit starts. Like, kind of listening to it laid out by someone who's done, like, a huge amount of research on this is interesting.
Retaliating against the Macrons for the, quote, audacity of sending her a retraction demand, Owens helmed an 8-part podcast series called Becoming Brigitte. Throughout the series, Owens endorsed, repeated, and published a series of verifiably false and devastating lies about the Macrons on which this complaint is based. These outlandish, defamatory, and far-fetched fictions included that Mrs. Macron was born a man, stole another person's identity, and transitioned to become Brigitte. Mrs. Macron and President Macron are blood relatives, committing...
Not funny as a trans person. I think more what's funny is just the level of insanity, but you're right, I guess, you know, transvestigation is a horrible thing.
Incest. President Macron was chosen to be the president of France as part of the CIA operation.
I just think, yeah, I guess it's so absurd that it makes me laugh is probably the better way to, like, you know. I understand, though, like, obviously, like, this transvestigation stuff goes a lot further than just this.
MK Ultra program, or a similar...
What? Wait, President Macron was chosen to be the president of France as part of a CIA-operated MK Ultra program or a similar mind control operation. This is also the other stuff. Brigitte Macron is already a really horrible person. Like, she dated Macron when he was a student and she was a teacher. True and On have a great episode about this, but, like, seriously, diving into the conspiracy theory, it's insane.
Program. And Mrs. Macron and President Macron are committing forgery, fraud, and abuses of power to conceal these secrets. And throughout this 250-page complaint, the Macrons contest, and they also comprehensively refute Owens' claim that Brigitte was born male. Now, the lawsuit isn't just about that claim, because as the portion I quoted says, Owens didn't stop there. She did also accuse the Macrons of incest. She implied they killed a journalist. She said that Brigitte Macron was a participant in the Stanford prison experiment, and she said that Emmanuel Macron might be a Manchurian candidate produced by the CIA's MKUltra program. Oh, and to top it all off, Owens is aggressively insistent that she has inside information that the French government is actively trying to assassinate her, a claim for which she has presented zero evidence. The Owens method of proof depends on elementary logical errors. Often the fact that one thing is vaguely similar to another is treated as evidence the two things are connected. So, for example, from the fact that Emmanuel Macron was isolated throughout his childhood and the CIA...
The reason why some of this stuff is believable is because American history is so fucked up insane. Anything is possible. Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, that is definitely true about, like, the like, aspect of that, but...
CIA's MKUltra program used isolation. Owens implies from that Macron was likely to be a CIA plant.
There is no conspiracy here. The MKUltra was real. The government was obsessed with all of these different programs. Really, the main point of them trying to condition the brain, trying to brainwash people, sometimes through isolation, which it sounds like Emmanuel Macron spent a ton of time isolated throughout his childhood. I mean, he's acknowledging that he lived through books, and his friends are acknowledging, or should be friends, are acknowledging that he was kind of a loner and on his own. So they would experiment.
I mean, that was a common thing, especially all those years ago when you didn't have phones and such. But also, by the way, one of the interesting thing about MKUltra is, did you know that MKUltra was like a huge upset because it seemed that people living under communism were way more supportive of their government, and they really thought that the Americans really thought that the Chinese and the Russians had cracked brainwashing.
Logically, through isolation, through drugs, you know, LSD, drugging people to see if they could get them to commit crimes or to commit other acts unwittingly.
That shit was horrible. Loads of it was done at McGill University as well. That's another fact that I learned when I was in Canada.
Essentially trying to establish a Manchurian candidate, somebody that responds to cues, does what they want them to do without question, wondering if they could control, and using this, by the way, as a weapon of sorts.
Now she goes on and on.
Why would they, like, what has Macron's political career entirely indicated in that way?
Like that for episode after episode. A cabal of Satanist globalist predators is secretly running the world. Here's a shifty man in maroon. Here's a suspicious plane. Here's an address for a Delaware office tied to the French government. And so anyone with even a modest capacity for critical thinking, it's obvious delusional nonsense. But why so many fans? Well, in part, we can blame the low level of Americans' capacity for critical reasoning. We do have evidence that the country has been becoming less literate over time. And while I've suggested there's some...
I saw Norman Finkelstein say this. He was like, none of my... Wait, how does he talk? Mr. Bonelli, none of my undergrads read. That now he just sounds like Jordan Peterson. Someone asked, have I watched Fallout? No, I haven't watched Fallout. I mean, I like New Vegas, but I haven't seen season 1, so I don't know if I ever will.
Distance between Candace Owens and standard conservatives. Those supposedly less delusional conservatives still hold beliefs that aren't grounded in any evidence, from the supposed China threat to climate denial, to the fear of LGBTQ people and immigrants. Republican ideology generally is impervious to evidence, whether it is the evidence that minimum wages are actually good for workers, or the evidence that burning fossil fuels is creating a climate.
The other fucking crazy thing is probably if Candace gets sued and actually loses the Macron case, all it'll mean is that there's actually a bigger conspiracy to her fans.
Catastrophe. It's not clear to me why Candace Owens' belief in satanic munchkins and moon landing hoaxes is that much more of a crime against reason than what her more supposedly respectable contemporaries believe. Additionally, there is the depressing fact that Owens is occasionally onto something. The CIA's MK Ultra program, for instance, was real. It was a grotesque, pseudoscientific series of experiments.
Right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna leave the video to play. I'll watch it on my phone, but I've got to pee. Actually, no. I don't want to get myself in trouble for chair reacting.
That evolved, giving psychoactive drugs to people without their consent. When Owens attributes nefarious deeds to an ideology she calls Frankism, she's describing an actual obscure Jewish sect from hundreds of years ago. She's not making it up out of whole cloth. And when she says NASA was founded by Satanists, she's referring to an actual US government rocket scientist, Jack Parsons, who was a follower of the occultist Aleister Crowley. Owens does dredge up aspects of history that people in power have preferred to sweep under the rug. For instance...
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna have to go pee. Guys, just wait for me to come back. Fools say you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. And then a vision softly creeping. It'll say hi. What does it actually go next? Fools say you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows.
She has said, we shouldn't have dropped a bomb on Catholics praying in Nagasaki. And it's true that Nagasaki was the center of Catholicism in Japan at the time of World War II, and the atomic bomb wiped out thousands of Christians, a fact difficult to reconcile with simple narratives of World War II as an unambiguously good war. Owens hosts one of the few shows that will give a serious, in-depth interview to Norman Finkelstein, one of the leading American critics of Israel's genocide in Gaza. And given the real facts of cases like COINTELPRO and Jeffrey Epstein, it's not hard to convince people that shadowy elite institutions are working together.
Was there, like, are any of you Epstein heads enough to know this? Was there, like, a big Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy world before he was convicted?
Against the people. People distrust the media and government authorities for rational reasons. The problem is that those like Owens leap from the sensible and true fact that those in power have an interest in concealing inconvenient truths to outlandish ideas about what the truth actually is. That's one reason people turn to quack medicine. Their legitimate distrust of the healthcare system makes them easy prey for charlatans like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. For instance, Owens is critical of Zionism and Israel.
I forgot RFK existed. I want to see more of that guy.
But not just for the sensible reason that Israel is committing crimes against humanity and was founded on a campaign of ethnic cleansing. She goes further, saying the founders of Israel were part of a Frankist cult that established Israel as a haven for pedophiles, and the Star of David is an occult hexagram. Then she adds further anti-Semitic canards, claiming that Stalin was Jewish and Leo Frank was a pedophile protected by the Anti-Defamation League. Now, that resulted in Dennis Prager sending her a letter trying to explain basic Jewish history to her, although interestingly, in that letter, he concedes regarding the bombing of the USS Liberty by Israel that, quote, "For reasons I do not understand and wish I did, both the American and Israeli governments covered it up at the time and have never since explained why it happened." So once again, when the government does lie, it erodes trust and it gives fuel to the conspiracists. Now, I'm not sure that the rise of Owens concerns me any more than the rise of any of the other ill-informed people who now operate our media. She's basically occupying the same lane as Alex Jones.
I don't think the Leo Frank story is necessarily true. I don't know.
Who, of course, has now been sued into financial oblivion by the grieving Sandy Hook families that he defamed. A fate that should perhaps make Candace Owens think about whether she really wants to continue to publicly accuse the Macron family of criminal wrongdoing. There's a broad problem in this country of the collapse of reliable information, including local news deserts and AI fakery. And that problem goes way beyond Candace Owens' podcast. But there's something...
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a very troubling thing. A very troubling thing is just that AI will tell you whatever you want to hear.
Especially disturbing about her level of departure from reality. I'd like to think that there is a hard ceiling on the number of people who can believe that Brigitte Macron, Israel, and Egypt are teaming up to threaten Candace Owens' life. But so far, Owens has continued to rise regardless of how absurd her theories get. Now, as usual, I believe the only possible answer to this kind of poisonous nonsense is a political left that acknowledges and exposes the crimes of the powerful, but operates using the methods of careful reasoning and critical thinking, and is always making sure that we're not lapsing into paranoia and conspiracism. And that's not easy, because the world does contain a great many conspiracies and a great many dark secrets. Our government is colluding with a foreign power to perpetrate and cover up a genocide, for instance. But I would hope that if some of us can model sensible skepticism, we can gradually peel away some of the audience attracted by Owen's promise to unveil the way the world works.
That was an interesting video by Current Affairs and Nathan J. Robinson. If you want to check it out, I've dropped a link to it over there. Right. Okay. A couple of things that I wanted to cover. I guess we'll do some Venezuela stuff. But what I wanted to talk about is the UK government is now criminalising, saying, globalise the Intifada. In London, you will now be arrested, and 2 people last night were.
ASJ, the context here is important.
They've said that apparently the context of saying globalise the Intifada is now anti-Semitic.
Because these arrests do come hours after 2 of the country's biggest police forces, the Metropolitan Police and Greater Manchester Police, made warnings essentially saying that they were going to change their approach, that they were going to be bringing in new measures to, in their words, deter intimidation, saying that anyone chanting slogans like globalise the Intifada would face arrest.
Once again, it's so funny that the people who have complete control over the narrative of two-tier policing, unfair media, are like right-wingers, when, as I've said before, the police literally protect pro-Israel protesters whilst they sit and they sing about how they love mass killings in Gaza. Also, I was reading this the other day, Palestinians Under Siege by Edward Said. Very good, London Review of Books, it's long. It's talking about, how the Second Intifada started. It started because Ariel Sharon went into the Al-Aqsa Mosque with a huge amount of people, and then it was, and then they responded to Palestinians protesting against that you know, a very ridiculous action where he took a whole military guard, they closed the area, and hundreds of Palestinians were killed. Like, listen to this. As of early November, 170 people had been killed, 6,000 wounded. These do not include 14 Israeli deaths. Can you see how this gets bloody? Can you see how people move away from peaceful protest? But no. Actually, Palestinians just love killing Jews. Let's live in that world.
And we've seen 2 arrests tonight at a central London pro-Palestine protest. And they said that's because the context has changed following the Bondi Beach terror attack.
Right, yeah, the Islamic State carried out a shooting, and now it's time to, or lone wolf supporters of the Islamic State. Yeah, it's actually that's actually just a result of chanting in the UK. We need to ban that so pro-Israel fanatics can do their genocide more openly with no pushback.
Which in Australia, which saw 50.
Have you got a licence to protest here, bruv? Have you got a licence to say the Arabic words that we understand? Oh no, I've been watching British media all day, and on the British media, they've told me that it's not okay to do protests. Like, let's get the take of Ben Kentish, a brilliant liberal leftist, complaining about Piers Morgan questioning whether the Israeli government has raised anti-Semitism. Imagine if a group of Muslims was shot dead praying again, and journalists started asking Muslim guests whether it was all just a reaction to ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, Iran, Hamas, etc. That's what this is. It only ever happens when it's Jews being killed. Oh, genuinely, shut up. Genuinely shut up, as if that is not a thing that is constantly done against Muslims, as if Muslims haven't been cracked down on as the result of, like, militant Islamists. What do you think the reaction to September the 11th was? Like, Muslims as a whole are blamed. We regularly see that in our media. What we don't see is people going on and being like, yeah, you know, these are extremist Jews. The Israeli government has delegitimized anti-Semitism so much.
People killed, an attack, of course, which targeted the Jewish community who'd been celebrating the first night of Hanukkah. So the Met have said that 3 people have been arrested in total at this protest, 2 people who shouted slogans arrested for racially aggravated public order offences, and a 3rd person for obstructing those arrests. Now, in terms of the response to this change of approach by these 2 big police forces, they've been welcomed largely by Jewish groups. The chief rabbi has said that such chants are, in his words, unlawful.
But supporting Israel doing genocide, that's totally lawful.
But have faced criticism from elsewhere, with Ben Jamal from the Palestine Solidarity Campaign saying that it restricts the right to protest. But what it certainly does mark, as I say, is a change in approach after both the Bondi Beach terror attack, but also the attack at Heaton Park Synagogue in Manchester a couple of months ago now. Again, a target on the Jewish community at a synagogue during Yom Kippur. 2 people.
And how many Jewish extremists from the UK give money to settlement movements, eh? How many of them go over and settle in Palestinian lands in violation of international law, eh? How many Jewish extremists participate in the Israeli military and then get to come back to the UK after mass killing Palestinians? I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Were killed, and authorities saying that they really want these changes, this change in approach, making this arrest to show that words have meaning. And
like, seriously, this is the point we're at. This is the point that the UK's at. Although, what I will say is, like, you know what? These marches don't have that much of a major effect. And it's so clear that the UK government, like, going to them, I go to them, and I think it's a fine thing to do. I chant these things when I'm at them. I genuinely cannot believe that we have reached this point where this is being criminalized and authoritarian, and like authoritarianism is here. But I'm glad that they're showing their true face. They've been restricting these marches for months now. They've reduced the amount that there's only allowed to be 1 every 4 weeks in London. They've cracked down on them slowly. You're not allowed to... the Palestine action's illegal, even though Amnesty International is telling us that it's unjust. Look at them show their true face. What do you want to post a link to? It depends. But here we have the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, being brilliant.
What happened at Bondi Beach was an atrocity. But words of solidarity are not enough. We know the evil we face. Islamic extremism is a threat to Western civilization. It abuses our democracies and subverts our institutions. It is incompatible with British values. So it is not enough just to protect Jewish communities. We must drive Islamic extremism out of this country.
What about Jewish extremism and support for the Israeli military and mass murder of Palestinians? Is it just that some religious extremisms are banned in the UK, or is it that all religious extremisms are banned in the UK? Because I totally agree with you. People who engage in religious extremism and militancy as a result of those beliefs should not be allowed. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, yeah, when will they stop? 2 years of this. They'll never stop. They'll never be satisfied. Listen to her on this show.
Hello, Samantha.
Hi, how you doing?
Very good. What would you like to ask?
I'd like to ask what you are going to do about the problem of anti-Semitism and how you're actually going to enforce these rules on and take to action with them, basically.
Samantha, thank you. It's a really important question. And I spoke in PMQs about this today, and I also put out a message after the atrocity at Bondi Beach. I'm tired of all the warm words and solidarity, and we stand shoulder to shoulder. I also think that we need to stop pretending that this is senseless violence, as if people just randomly woke up and decided to shoot Jewish people. What we're seeing is targeted assassinations, let's be quite frank, of people going about their lives because they're Jewish. It wasn't just in Bondi Beach. It happened in Manchester, in Heaton Park.
Both by the Islamic State, by the way, but, you know, ban marches.
And what I've said is that we need to take action. Let's stop these hate marches that are creating an environment where it looks like everybody's out to get Jewish people. Let's do...
No one actually believes that. There are huge amounts of Jewish people on those marches. Like, this is... By the way, this will only big up the next march.
What we can in terms of supporting security. But let's also talk about the thing that many people don't want to talk about, which is Islamist extremism. The worst violence.
It is genuinely all that anyone talks about in Western society. This is Kemi Badenoch, so she's the leader of the Conservative Party, so she's the head of the opposition in the UK.
Is coming from those people who are extreme in their hatred of Jews, and it's based on an ideology.
No, they don't have anything to say about Tommy Robinson because they don't care about someone marching through the streets with tens of thousands of extremist racists saying, Allah, Allah, who the fuck is Allah? Because they like it when Muslims are killed in a faraway place because, you know, that's cool, that's acceptable. When the other deemed inferior to Western society is killed, that's awesome. But when it comes to, Jewish people being killed by Islamic State supporters, they don't want to talk about it. No. And yeah, I mean, I know about Eli Schlanger and his behavior. Even Novara Media gave him a eulogy. He used to just comment Amalek on photos of dead Palestinians. The guy was awful.
That we see not just in this country, but...
That doesn't mean that people at the event deserve to die, though. Like, you know...
all over the world, and it is growing. We've got to do something about it, and pretending that it's all just an accident or a...
It's also, by the way, amazing to talk like this when right now Venezuela is on the brink of a US-led invasion, which is going to have heinous consequences for huge amounts of Palestinians. For the Venezuelan people. And once again, it's premised on this basic assumption that Western society is supreme over what it deems inferior and that they have a right to do whatever it wants there. And yet these people just continually go on and on about anti-Semitism. Look, deal with it. Prevent Islamic State extremists from targeting Jewish people. Jewish people should not be attacked and killed in any society. It's not acceptable. But let's be frank here. When they're going, this is the most deadly hatred in the world, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, are not dead in Sudan because of anti-Semitism. They're dead because of the fact that certain human beings are deemed inferior, that it is just okay to fiddle around in another people's country. Like, frankly, that's it. Like, that it's okay for a country that we're allied with. Like, as she says this, children are dying of hypothermia in Gaza. Israeli settlers are entering it so that they can put their flag up. Like, I don't think there's any other way to put this. It is so insane and ridiculous.
random event, I think, is us looking away. Jews have been in this country for hundreds of years. They've always treated our country as a sanctuary. We need to be active now,
Liar, your Conservative Party was incredibly anti-Semitic towards Jewish people. Look at the history of your party and how they spewed anti-Semitic conspiracies about Jewish people.
Real action in order to make sure that they
what
are
is
safe.
that action?
Well, it's the things I talked about, taking action.
Like, of course, 6 million Jewish people were exterminated in the Holocaust, but simultaneously, how many indigenous people in the Americas? How many people throughout the colonies? How many people in post 9/11 wars? Bad faith.
It is utterly ridiculous.
I don't think no, I won't be streaming that long. Thanks for the $5, Rin, but no, I don't think I'll be streaming that long. I mean, maybe I'll see what they're saying. I'm interested in seeing what they're saying about it, but yeah, I don't really know Bad Faith. Thank you for the suggestion, but I'm not going to be streaming. I'm going to eat at about 8 p.m., so yeah.
Action on the marches. People saying globalize the Intifada are inciting violence, as far as I'm concerned.
How is saying globalize the Intifada inciting violence? Like, let's be frank here. It's solidarity with non-violent Palestinian resistance in the vast majority of cases that people are doing it. Like, let's be frank. And the reason that people are doing this is because people like you sit there and act as if it is an evil, evil, evil hatred that Palestinians just engage in violence against Jewish people for no reason other than anti-Semitism.
To be dealt with. The work that Prevent is doing on extremism is mostly focused on other types of extremism, even though Islamist extremism is the one that has provided most of the cases of horrific incidents.
No. Lie. Once again, the truth is, Christian extremism in Western society is acceptable and facilitated in the military. Same with white extremism. In the case of Israel, Jewish extremism is allowed to go on unabated.
Just on globalize the Intifada thing, the Met and the Manchester police have said that they will now arrest people who chant that. The Campaign for Anti-Semitism has said, well, that's not enough. That isn't actually going to help. They want the marches banned completely. Would you ban those marches?
Well, where the marches become very clear intimidation rather than just protest, I think yes. A lot of people are exploiting.
I love it when we get these arbitrary authoritarian lines drawn. But let's be frank. These people are just banning it because it's something that will appease a base. The actual thing is that these marches are not major challenges to what Israel is doing in Gaza. Palestine action was, and that's why that was met instantaneously with terrorism. They perhaps want them to go away, so consciousness is kind of erased, like that people actually still care about Palestine. But yeah, maybe I'll be eating the damn rich.
Free speech to do things that it wasn't intended to do. Free speech was to talk about your personal grievances, not to create a climate of fear and intimidate Jews. So
Right, yeah. It's for the government to create a climate of fear.
I completely understand why the Campaign for Anti-Semitism says that, but
the Campaign for Anti-Semitism is run by a guy affiliated with the Jewish National Fund, an organization that has been pivotal in wiping away Palestinian history and culture. Thank you for standing with us, Chris. I mean, look, like, I have no, like, desire. Like, I'm a leftist. I don't love, like, Islamic extremism. But, like, the hard truth is, and I'm not saying that this is what it is, the hard truth is that so many in Western society treat any solidarity with the Palestinians as some kind of extremist thing, that any understanding of Palestinian history and culture and framing Israel as what it actually is, a serial violator of human rights engaged in violent apartheid and genocide against the Palestinians, is totally unacceptable.
Being in government, quite a lot of what was being done was, let's all get together, let's all be nice to each other, let's all show some solidarity. And then you find that actions are carried out by people and they get away with it. I think that's completely wrong. We need to be enforcers of the law, not bystanders.
Samantha, would you like to come back on that?
To be honest, I agree with everything she just said. I think there should be more strict laws, specifically with such terms. We can all say they're open to interpretation, but there's clear intent with those kind of terms. River to the sea, and And I think it's just been far too...
By the way, all of these idiots talk about a two-state solution as well, with the Israeli government, who is unwilling to do that.
Casual the last couple of years. It's been allowed to just escalate. And the problem is the radicalisation, and it's becoming normalised. And that's the problem. There needs to be some crystal clear law.
Did any of these people who were part of the Islamic State regularly go to pro-Palestine protests? Do we know? Because Islamic State people don't particularly tend to like other Muslims.
And they need to be shown to be put in place. And also, I think another thing I'd like to be seen taken care of is the media's impact as well. Some of the problems with the BBC and other media outlets, I think...
By the way, all of these media outlets are so unequivocally pro-Israel that this is just the most ridiculous thing.
Be some clearer laws with that as well, and some investigations.
I think Samantha's right about the BBC. There was that documentary that was horrific. There are clearly problems with BBC.
Do you know what the documentary she's referring to as horrific is? It was because the narrator, his father was a Hamas agricultural minister.
For example, I spoke to the former Director General about them. The media also helps to shift the debates and the narrative. And the fact is, Jewish communities are scared. I visited a primary school that had so much security around it. You know, I've got children in primary school. I can't imagine them having to deal with that. It's just awful. People putting feces through the doors of Jewish people not being able to celebrate their faith publicly because they're worried about what happened in Heaton Park and Bondi Beach. And also the targeting around...
For all of the surveillance and powers that these people have gained since 9/11, they haven't really done a very good job at capturing Islamic extremists. I don't know, maybe that has something to do with the UK's cultivation and the US's cultivation and utilisation of Islamic extremists. I don't know.
Religious festivals. It's horrific. It's like us knowing that if we celebrate Christmas, that people will come and attack us. I mean, it's horrific. And
by the way, the Islamic State have literally done that in Europe. Like, the Islamic State have attacked people in Europe. And, like, the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group was where the Ariana Grande attacker came from. And the UK cultivated and supported the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group. We didn't call it a terrorist organisation when the US government did. And we tried to use the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group to go and assassinate Gaddafi. And we let them go across. And the father and son, Salman Abedi, who carried out the Manchester Arena bombing, was part of the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group.
Us need to do more than offer words of solidarity.
And, like, yeah, racism is a bad thing, but this whole thing of, like, very racist politicians like Kemi Badenoch and all of them who have no regard for the tens of thousands of Palestinians who are killed, going on and on about anti-Semitism is insane to me. It frankly is.
We will, certainly as a party, we have a stronger stance, but we will be taking action on this in a much firmer way than we did last time. I don't think that we did enough last time.
Are you religious yourself?
Not particularly, no. I grew up in a Christian household. My grandfather was a Methodist rabbi.
Okay, I'm not listening to her tell us all about how religious she is. But the level of discourse in the UK has been impressive. We had Jess... We had Labour's Jess Phillips telling us about intifada.
Intifadas having overtones of violence, Minister.
I think calling for to globalise the intifada can only...
She can't even pronounce intifada. She calls it infitada.
Really have... I'm not sure what other interpretation there is of intifada other than, like, an uprising.
It's intifada, of course.
Intifada.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yes, that's right.
Is to call for uprising. And look, we've seen...
By the way, calling for an uprising against Western governments who have continually backed and enabled a genocide and an apartheid state and the mass slaughter of Palestinian people, why is that so evil? Why is that so evil, calling for an uprising against that? That's clearly what globalise the intifada means.
We've seen what can happen in an environment where the idea of calling people to arms or violence,
yes,
that is a very real thing that is happening across our country. The Home Secretary is undertaking a review specifically of public order and hate crime to make sure that the police have the exact tools across the country that they need to deal with.
Give the police more powers. They've done so well with those powers, haven't they?
This issue and has invested
exactly, Ivan. They'll literally say anything. They don't give a shit.
Heavily, £10 million extra this year to a total of 28 million.
By the way, these are people who the Labour government advocated for Maccabi Tel Aviv fans to come to the UK not long ago, and they've just been fined €20,000 by UEFA for racist chanting. If anyone cannot see how in the context of Palestine or Muslim communities, how going around chanting death to Arabs, your horrible songs about them, would increase community tensions is insane.
In ensuring that safety and security of our Jewish community and their schools and places of worship and elsewhere is absolutely a primary priority of the government.
So you will share the dismay of many that the BBC described the Intifada on its website as largely unarmed and popular.
Yes, both intifadas were largely non-violent and popular. For the vast majority of people who participated, even in the second intifada, they engaged in non-violent resistance. It was more militarized, but as I just showed you with the Edward Said thing, does anyone understand how this might have become more militarized? When protesting Palestinians were being killed and thousands were being wounded, and especially after the non-violent resistance of the first Palestinian Intifada was met with mass torture and violence against Palestinians. I seem to remember the peace lover Yitzhak Rabin declaring the need to break the bones of Palestinians.
I mean, I haven't seen that, but look, to me, when you say when people start shouting things like "globalise the intifada," like
it's amazing that she still can't pronounce intifada.
The connotation is clear.
But yeah, as I say, with these marches, it's become very clear that they are not having the effect that people hoped. But this will bring huge amounts of people to will bring huge amounts more people to support the protests. I guarantee it. It's a stupid move by the UK government. This is what the BBC said. The term intifada came into popular use during the Palestinian uprising against Israeli occupation. It was largely unarmed and popular uprising that continued until the early 1990s. The Intifada also saw the development of groups outside the control of the PLO, notably Hamas. That's also, by the way, that's also problematic. The Hamas did uprise. I guess notably you can say that, but many other groups didn't actually. Many other groups came out of it, like a camp-led resistance movement. The second Intifada began in September 2000, after a controversial visit by Ariel Sharon, then opposition leader, to a holy site in Jerusalem. It is sometimes referred to as the Al-Aqsa Intifada, after the Al-Aqsa Mosque in the Haram al-Sharif, known as to Jews as Temple Mount. The BBC doesn't quite go there, but the first Intifada was non-violent civil disobedience, but was met with shocking levels of military and settler violence and collective punishment by the IOF, which is when Hamas and other armed groups emerge. Yes, how do you think Hamas gained legitimacy? Like, how do you think armed and militant resistance gained legitimacy when popular, non-violent resistance didn't work? Why do you think, and that it was met with brutal repression? There is literally an article by some guy who's not Ari Shavit on Gaza Beach, where he talks about his feelings of becoming a Nazi, or how he felt like he was becoming a Nazi. Wait, I'll show you. About how they just mass tortured Palestinians. He literally talks about his experience of being a camp guard where he just tortured Palestinians. Like, I'm sorry. Intifada, when we're talking about it, during the first one, Palestinians showed huge amounts of restraint in comparison to what the Israelis were doing. And even during the second one, unsurprisingly, it was the Israelis who engaged in huge amount of violence against Palestinians. Like, yes, 1,000 Israelis died, but how many Palestinians died? How many were brutalized by the state of Israel? They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit that racism afforded 3,000 Palestinians to die. And once again, we'll pull up the thing. We'll pull up this one.
We knew was inevitable.
We were praying, hoping that it would never happen. But no surprise, because of the tone on the streets within our societies, with the hatred that is being expressed to the Jewish state, to Jews and to Judaism. And therefore, what's happening around us is inspiring some people to translate hate speech into hate action. You know, my own story is not really so important. One of our children called me to say, "Have you heard?" And then there were some agonizing hours, actually, to discover what really transpired. Who was this an attack on? Who was involved? Who was implicated? How many were dead? How many were injured? But deep down, we knew this was an attack on Jewish people for the sin of openly.
Have you read William Cleveland's book on the Middle East? I haven't, no. What book? Thanks for the £5, Helmut.
Celebrating their Jewishness. Time and time again, that's what we have experienced. But you know what? We saw those scenes at Bondi Beach, far more people than the first night, and that's how it's going to be here in the UK and right around the world. We're strong, we're tenacious, and we will celebrate our...
Once again, I would love for someone to fully explain the link between the Islamic State and protests against Israel.
Our faith without fear.
You said there about hate speech being translated into action. And I just wondered if you could expand a bit on that. There has been some criticism, obviously, of the Australian political response to it, but particularly here in the United Kingdom.
I may well check out that book. I've never heard about it. It sounds very interesting.
What is your message to political leaders, to the Prime Minister?
We have to crack down on hate speech in a far more forceful and emphatic way than...
Give the police more powers and it'll fix everything. We
previously have been doing. By the way, the Prime Minister called me yesterday to express his solidarity and support, which I genuinely appreciate. Let's take, for example, cries such as "From the River to the Sea" or "Globalize the Intifada." What does globalize the Intifada mean? It means what happened at Eton Park Synagogue in Manchester and Yom Kippur. It means what happened on Bondi Beach. The time has come once and for all not to allow such rhetoric to poison the minds of people.
Yeah, I wonder if I'll be allowed to play Intifada 1987 by Riyad Awad. Is that illegal? Riyad Awad? Is that now illegal? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's legal and illegal in this stupid country anymore. The times we live in, eh? There was also this article that terrorist arrests have surged by 660% due to the Palestine action ban. Just insane. Just insane. Like in both intifadas, like Janine is based on, if you want to watch something about the Intifada, I'd recommend you watch Janine. It's just about like extrajudicial killings and the destruction of Janine and all of the violence subjected against Palestinians. You know, like Ariel Sharon was a brutal mass murderer. He killed thousands in Lebanon. He was responsible for Sabra and Shatila. He then oversaw the Intifada and engaged in humongous violence against Palestinians. Sitting there and acting as if this is a thing where uniquely Jewish people were targeted and ignoring the extreme violence, the curfews, the collective punishment, the torture, the home demolitions, the mass murder of the Second Intifada inflicted on Palestinians is utterly ridiculous. Especially today when we're looking at the consequences for Palestinians. If I see the level of destruction in Palestine and I spend my time claiming that the real racist issue today, when I've seen the media treatment of Palestinians, is inflicted on Jewish people in Western society, then you're not dealing with reality. You are not dealing with reality. The Bondi Beach attack, the Manchester synagogue attack are atrocious. They were carried out by three people who pledged allegiance to the Islamic State. They weren't carried out because people chanted, globalize the Intifada. They were not. The vast majority of pro-Palestine activists, if not all of them, well, of course there'll be differences, would condemn what happened at both of those situations. But none of these people care. None of these people have any interest in that, because we live in an incredibly racist world. We live in a world where Donald Trump can just easily talk about the expulsion of 2 million Palestinians from Gaza, and that's acceptable. Where the leader of the United States can call Somalis garbage human beings, and that's acceptable, and no one will confront that racism, you know? And we live in a world where the destruction of the lives of millions of Venezuelans is just something that Trump might do. It's just kind of fun. And I'd highly recommend Anna's Children as well. Anna's Children is fucking brilliant in terms of how it shows how people engage in militancy and how so much of it pertains to their lives being defined by Israel's actions, that these weren't barbarous monsters whose only goal was to kill Jewish people, but rather human beings whose lives were destroyed by Israel. But I'll end that segment there. I'll do a little bit on Venezuela because there's some interesting stuff. By the way, apparently Trump has announced the Hunger Games.
In the fall, we will host the first ever Patriot Games, an unprecedented 4-day athletic event featuring the greatest high school athletes, one young man and one young woman from each state and territory. But I promise there will...
So he's announced the Hunger Games, which is amazing. At least that's some kind of light reprieve from the other shit he's up to. He's calling it the Patriot Games as well.
For president, I pledge to give America... My campaign...
Okay, wait. There's more to this.
For president, I pledge to give America the most spectacular birthday party the world has ever seen for America's 250th anniversary on July 4th next year. Already we've had big celebrations to commemorate the 250th birthdays of the Army, the Navy, and the United States Marines, but there is much, much more to come. We're going to have a good time. As we ring in 2026, Americans across the nation will see the iconic Washington Monument illuminated with festive birthday lights to honor the start of this historic anniversary year. Then from June 25th to July 10th of next year, we will host the Great American State Fair on the National Mall, featuring pavilions from all 50 states, highlighting breathtaking innovations and celebrating America's exceptional history and culture.
Once again, why is it every time he's live he does the same thing with his hand? It seems so weird.
Frankly, you'll never see anything like it, and you'll never see anything like it again. In the fall, we will host the first ever Patriot Games, an unprecedented 4-day athletic event featuring the greatest high school athletes, one young man and one young woman from each state and territory. But I promise there will be no men playing in women's sports. You're not going to see that. You'll see everything but that. As I first announced in 2020, we will build the National Garden of American Heroes featuring statues of all-time greatest Americans. And we will build...
By the way, he's moving really robotically. It's very odd again.
A triumphal arc as we celebrate 250 years of American freedom. We are the only major city. We are the only major capital. We are the only major place without a triumphal arc, a beautiful triumphal arc, one like in Paris where they have the a beautiful arc in Paris. They call it the Arc de Triomphe. And we're going to have one in Washington, D.C. very soon. Construction will start in the very near future. And next spring, we will host a major prayer event on the National Mall to rededicate our country as one nation under God. We're not changing that. There are a lot of people who would like to see it. It'll never happen. And on Flag Day, we will have a one-of-a-kind UFC event here at the White House. It'll be the greatest champion fighters in the world, all fighting that same night.
You guys were right about the gladiator fights. Whoa.
The great Dana White is hosting, and it's going to be something special. But all of this is just a beginning. 2026 will be a celebration of America like no other, honoring our nation in all of its glory. To help carry out these exciting plans, we have created a new public-private partnership. It's called Freedom 250. Working with states, companies, and organizations across the country, we will renew the patriotism, pride, and
You just got a Shen Yun ad on my stream. Crazy.
pioneering spirit of America and lay the groundwork for the next 250 years of independence and freedom.
To be fair, I would actually really like to see Pete Hegseth really drunk fighting against Marco Rubio or something. That would be interesting.
This will be a time like you've never had in your lives. America 250. Thank you. I love you all.
Very interesting video. Thank you, Mr. Trump. You know what? I don't think I'm going to cover the Venezuela stuff today. I think I've only got 30 minutes, and I think it's too long for that, so I'll cover it tomorrow. UK's authoritarian crackdown. I think I may leave it there. I'll interact with the chat for a little bit. I think you got any questions you want to ask or anything? I'll do that for the next, 20 minutes or so. Healthcare, please. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I always get Harry Potter world ads. Don't even talk about that. Trumpism will evolve into AI Trump and a party that emulates his aesthetics. Weird tans, red hats, and big red ties. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think that maybe that will happen. Also, someone asked a question about, how do you stay happy in such, a despairing world? I think the investment in that things must get better. Things will have to get better. I don't think that this can last forever. I really don't. It's not the kind of thing. I think that it's genuinely not the kind of thing that I believe will happen. I guess I could watch a little bit of the Bad Faith podcast, but the only thing is I don't want to start something and then not finish it. No, they haven't even started the debate yet. No, they haven't started it. I guess I'll just... what book are you reading? I'm at the end of The Deluge. I've been reading it for way too fucking long. But yeah, I'm just at the end of that, and then I'm going to read... I think I might read quickly Lenin, Imperialism, or Capitalism, Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism. Can you say Wingardium Leviosa? Yes. Are you proud of yourself? Because you should be. Sometimes I'm proud of some of the things I've done, not everything. And, I guess, now is an interesting transitionary period, moving over to doing streaming more than other stuff. And I'm proud of, how YouTube's gone this year, and I hope that next year will grow even more and get bigger. I mean, it's hard to garner an audience on here. But, yeah, I mean, many things I've done I'm proud of. I'm proud of the way in which, I've been able to influence discourse and media on Palestine-related topics. I'm proud that I helped people learn about Palestine, change their minds on things. I am proud about that. Das Kapital might be a bit of a challenge in terms of its length, but yeah. But it's hard to it's hard to feel proud of yourself, in many ways. Should we vote for a war criminal? Yeah. I'm in New Zealand, so wish you're here. Maybe one day I'll go to Australia, but I don't know about New Zealand. But yeah, it's been an interesting year of doing a different thing and kind of focusing on stuff, and I'm very happy in my life, do you like The Cure? Yeah, I love The Cure. I don't listen to them as much as I once did. I love Just Like Heaven is my favorite Cure song. I also like A Forest. What's the one that's it's 6 something on a Saturday night? I like that. I don't remember if I've got that wrong. Boys Don't Cry. I'm a bit of a Cure normie. I'm not a deep Cure fan. Although, actually, I have Kiss Me, Kiss Me on vinyl behind me, which has never been opened because, interestingly, the vinyl player behind me doesn't actually work because it's not got speakers. But yeah, there's a copy of Kiss Me, Kiss Me, which has my favourite Cure song on, obviously, Just Like Heaven, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, there's a Cure album behind me I kind of forgot about. I've had that for about a year and it's never been used, so it kind of shows you. 7 on a Saturday night. Listen to Disintegration. I'll have listened to Disintegration, but yeah. To have a triumphal arc, you need a military triumph. Remind me again, well, when they blow up Venezuelan women and children and Corina Machado goes, this is what oil. When she tells us about how this is oil. Where's the Modest Mouse? I only know one. Is Modest Mouse the... did Johnny Marr play in Modest Mouse for a while? I like that. Do you like Pink Floyd? Yes, I do like Pink Floyd to some extent, but they're not my favourite band. I don't think they're bad. Like, I don't like the Beatles. I understand why people appreciate it, but I don't really love the Beatles. Please Google 6-7. No. As in 6-7. The only 6-7 I know is Step Correct with those waps. No funeral. Man's turning up trying to lack or something like that. I don't know. That's 6-7 if you're not familiar with them. I've been listening to loads of Irish music recently. I've been listening to Barry's Column. I like that one a lot. It's a good song. Yeah. Do you think what is antiseptic? Not particularly. I mean, I think he has some pretty crazy views about certain things, but I don't think he's like a really bad guy. Gaylord Robinson, hello. I miss System of a Down. I was never a big fan of them. What interests and hobbies do you have? I like watching films. I've been watching a lot of films at the moment. I like gaming when I have the time, but I have less and less time for it now, so that kind of sucks a bit. But yeah, I like playing games with friends every now and again when I get the chance. I like seeing my friends. I mean, my main hobby at the moment, I don't even know if I call it a hobby because obviously I sit and I have quite a sedentary lifestyle working at a desk. I like going to the gym and I train for like minimum an hour a day, 4 days a week. I like kneecap, but I prefer, I think I'm a bigger fan of, I know My Old Man's a Provo. My Old Man's a Provo. I know that song, yeah. Do you think the UK is a vassal state to the US? I mean, in many ways, our foreign policy just follows them. Like, yeah, I know the Wolf Tones. I know the Wolf Tones very well. I know Irish Rovers as well. I don't know the Dubliners so well. But of course I know Wolf Tones. They wrote a banger. Well, they didn't write it, but Go On Home, British Soldiers, Go On Home. I know that one, certainly. My Little Armalite, of course I know that one. The Demand from the Daily Mail I know as well. I don't know if that's what you were saying, but I do know it. Machado will say we need more love. That's what we need. We need love and democracy, and then everything will be fine. Have you had any further contact? I haven't spoken to Madison in a while. I'd like to speak to Madison soon. But yeah, fave food right now. I don't know. I like a lot of food. I eat the same food every morning. I eat some oatmeal with, or porridge as we call it, with protein powder mixed into it. I eat that every morning, except on weekends or days where I don't go to the gym, where I'll tend to have like eggs and salmon or eggs and bacon, which are what I like. I plan on checking stream suggestions in the channel. Sorry, yeah. I have the reason also I've been so bad is like just having girlfriend here, and normally I work all day, and then yeah. But quite often when you suggest a long video, sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't watch like just a long video. But then I guess I've been doing that, and today and yesterday I've done like big things of just watching stuff. But yeah, but I do read it, and I have been reading it recently. What does your girlfriend think of British Chinese food? She doesn't have major thoughts on it. Madison sang your Snark anthem yesterday. I'm glad to hear. She's a very nice person. I like Madison, and I think I highlighted that. I also want to do a conversation with Alex Novell. I didn't get around to that today, but I knew I was going to have a bit of stuff, and I really wanted to watch that Candace on Piers stuff. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the protein. How do you handle criticism towards your channel? Do you get affected when people talk shit? What's your thoughts on Ethan Klein criticizing other content? That's quite a few questions, but I'll answer them. How do you handle criticism towards your channel? I mean, I think constructive criticism is nice. You know, people who say, can you do this? Can you do that? Oh, you should be conscious of what you're doing. And yeah, I think that's important. The only one I ever found hard was when people were like, oh, can you not shout on TikTok? And I was like, I'm not shouting, I'm just passionate, and also my voice is very loud. But yeah, I think criticism's fair enough. You put something out into the world, and that idea is beyond you. You need to take criticism and such. And no, I don't really get affected when people talk shit. The only time I've ever been stressed was when I first started out. Now I don't really give a fuck when people talk shit about me. They can talk shit all they want. If it's something that I can address and talk about, I will. But yeah, I love The Wind That Can Shake The Wind That Shakes the Barley. It's one of my favorite films on Letterboxd. I gave it a 5-star. And what's your thoughts about Ethan Klein criticizing other content? I think Ethan Klein criticizing other content is comical. I think that he will never ever confront mine, Isaac's, or Paige Christie, or anyone's. And the only reason he took on Madison was because he realized that there were certain points at which he could misrepresent or say, oh, she's evil and anti-Semitic and bad. But yeah, you can get Zach Foster on. Yeah, I've spoken to Zach Foster once or twice, but I want to. But the problem is I've got a ton of people who might come on. So Jews for Palestine is one. If you're familiar with him, he makes great content. I like him. Maybe I'll have him on stream, actually, at some point in the next couple of weeks. He's a good guy. I like him. He asked to come on, but yeah, I'd like to have him on. I spoke to Hassan. Taylor Lorenz will definitely have on at some point. I think, you know, Isabel Dumb Birch Tree on TikTok, I'm going to have her on. I like her. She's nice, but I don't know when we'll do that. She's obviously very, very busy, but yeah, we'll have her on. Stephen Kapos, I don't know, maybe, but I think the problem with Stephen Kapos is quite old and probably has a bad microphone. I don't know. That's one thing I think about, because there's quite a lot of my university lecturers who I'd like to have on. Someone that we'll have on is... someone that will definitely... If the bad faith thing is interesting, yeah, quite possibly. I think someone I might have on, or someone I'd like to have on... someone I am going to have on who hasn't got back to me, but he did get back to me a while ago, is someone who I am going to have on is the Palestinian historian that I spoke to with my first ever thing, in the first ever thing I uploaded on this channel. Or was it the first ever thing? I don't know. It's kind of how I launched the YouTube channel earlier this year. I think we'll have him on again. I really want to talk to him about a lot of stuff. Still support that former Abu Ghraib, does he? I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with Hassan's views on him. Do you like The Prodigy? I don't know The Prodigy all that well. I do like them, yeah. But what I've heard, but I'm not like a #1 Prodigy fan. I'm more of a Smiths fan, Cure fan. Let me look at what was recently in my... I made like a... I don't often make playlists, which is a stupid thing to do. I listen to a lot of podcasts, though, these days when I'm at the gym. Rather than... I like Fontaines. Fontaines are good. I like their new album. I liked Skinny Fear was good as well. There's a lot of good stuff on their recent album. I like the Stone Roses for a little bit. I like quite an eclectic thing. I have quite like an eclectic taste in music. I'm just scrolling through. I do like Fleetwood Mac a lot. I'm not like Fleetwood Mac's #1 fan or anything. I like Talking Heads, not their #1 fan as well. Some Beach Boys shit I like a lot. I like some Dire Straits stuff. Echo and the Bunnymen I like. They're good. R.E.M. I like R.E.M. a lot. I like The Kate Bush. I like Kate Bush. But yeah. Yeah, Fontaines do. Blur, I like Blur as well. They're all right. Do you listen to German music? Yeah, I love that song that Young Lean played at his boiler room that goes like Tulpen und Narzissen sagen ja, sagen nein, sagen ja. Tulpen und Narzissen sagen ja, sagen nein. I don't love Pink Pantheress that much. I even have the time to read all the comments. I think Ethan is big enough that he shouldn't be obsessing over everything that anybody says about him online. I mean, real celebrities don't have time for it. Are you getting to that point, Chris? I mean, no, because I'm not as big, and I think about what, like, things people say and, like, what things are commenting about me. Like, I sometimes check up if there's any discourse about, like, my podcast, my stream on Reddit. But, yeah, generally I'll just have a look at that. But I think... Oh, wait, I have seen something amazing. Ethan's... Someone made an Ethan's misogyny list by the numbers. So, men who he's beefing with. Men. Hassan, Noah Sampson, Bad Empanada, Mike from PA, Adam McIntyre. That's not how you spell it, is it? iDubbbz, Chris Kunzler, Matt Lieb, Millhouse, Ryan Beard, Moses, Sean DeBlack, ? Women, Denims, Frogan, Caseytron, Taylor Lorenz, Cruel World, Happy Mind, Anissa, Mika, Trisha. But you will notice who got the biggest amount of stuff in there. Also, poor Isaac. Isaac hasn't even been included on here. Has he ever mentioned Overzealots? Does he ever mention Overzealots at all? Is that like has he ever mentioned him? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a thing. Maybe. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not so sure. But Ethan literally skipped over me and he mentioned it. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know if Ethan will ever put me on there. I don't know. Yeah. Oof. Sorry, my eyes are going crazy. Nope, Isaac isn't a woman. Yeah, no, Isaac's Italian as well. He doesn't want the anti-Italian allegations to swirl against him, which they sure will. Yeah, they're gonna... my favourite full bands when I was in high school were Led Zeppelin. I like a few Led Zeppelin songs. The Doors have some quality music. Fleetwood Mac are brilliant. I never really got into Rod Stewart. I like every day I spend my time drinking wine, feeling fine. I like that a lot. I used to love the A$AP Rocky thing with that. I used to love a lot more rap music when I was younger, but now I've kind of moved away from rap music. Yeah, unfortunately, but someone called Zach Fantano be liking my tweets. The other things I'm going to get better at are using Twitter. I've got a couple of things to do to do over the next year, but yeah. Do you play any instruments? I used to play the piano and I played the guitar for a while. I just never got very good at the guitar. But every now and again, I have a pang and a desire to do it. They are overtly left-leaning, while Laybach critiques plays with broader totalitarian politics. Interesting. Okay. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna end the stream there. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for watching, supporting, donating. Thank you all for being here. I'll let you know if I'll be live tomorrow. Just check the YouTube, the post page, and I'll let you know what I'm getting up to. Thank you all as always. I am incredibly grateful for the support and the amount of people who watch you. Even now, there's 225 people in here when I've just stopped all coverage. It's nearly 4 hours into a stream, and you're all just sat here watching me. So thank you all so much. Have a lovely rest of the day. Be 4 hours into a stream and you're all just sat here watching me. So thank you all so much. Have a lovely rest.